Hello, guys. What the fuck, bro? Like, what the fuck, bro? What is going on in the world? I've lived in California my whole life. The worst thing that I ever experienced up north was the earthquake in '89. That was fucking really gnarly. I was like 6 years old. What was the date? Excuse me. Yeah, I was 6 years old. And that was fucking gnarly. That's a very vivid memory that I have of that earthquake. We dealt with a little bit of flooding from time to time. You know, there were some fires. But fuck, man, in recent years, shit has gotten so much worse. We had those fires that were in the Bay Area that were so bad that the smoke made it all the way down to Los Angeles. That was like 3 years ago when you stepped outside and everything was like sepia tone. That was bizarre. Was it in Washington? I thought it was the Bay Area. Those Washington fires? The 1989 earthquake was during the World Series. It's crazy. I mean, like fucking crazy timing. The Oakland A's, or what were then the Oakland A's, and the Giants were playing in the fucking World Series, and then a devastating earthquake hits as the game is going. And then earlier this year, we had that storm that caused we had the storm that happened at the same time, those crazy fires, and like half of Los Angeles was on fire. That was a stressful like 5 days. Fucking hell, man. What is going on in California? I live in California, so I don't have to deal with this shit. And then I get a notification on my phone, run for your lives. Seek shelter immediately. I'm like, oh, a fucking tornado? Wait, what? You know what it is, guys? It's tornadoes I find to be the most horrifying natural disaster. I am terrified of tornadoes. I am fucking terrified of tornadoes. The storms earlier this year were insane. I mean, I think it was like 110, 120 mile per hour winds. Like I was thinking, like, are the windows gonna shatter? Like the windows were like wow, 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 like as the winds were picking up. That was last January. Tornadoes can be a quick event. 10 minutes and it can cause massive amounts of destruction. I just find them horrifying. I just find the concept of tornadoes horrifying. Naughty Pup. You know what I was just thinking? Where the fuck is Naughty Pup? I was like, is she okay? I was just thinking that this morning. How are you doing, Naughty Pup? Starting to get worried about you. Naughty Pup with 13 months. Pay attention to your weather, Baldy. Can't stay, but happy holidays to you in chat. You damn weirdos. Love your faces. Hey, happy holidays to you. Hope you guys have a good Christmas. You and your family enjoy yourselves. Enjoy each other's company. And yeah, thanks for being such a positive force in the community in the last year. I'm not sure how you found the channel, but I have never been to Philadelphia. I've been to a lot of big cities in the country. I've been to Austin. I've been to Dallas. I've been to Portland. I've been to Seattle. I've been to Miami, New York City, Boston, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Las Vegas. Probably leaving some. I've been to Tucson, Arizona. Never been to Philly. I've been on a baking spree, Hutch, for the last week. Pup side hustle. Nice. My mom, big baker. Big old baker. Snickerdoodles. Her chocolate chip cookies are fucking phenomenal. Gingerbread, not gingerbread, I don't even, what do you call them? Like Christmas cookies. I don't know what to fucking call them. They're like shaped like snowmen, and are they just called Christmas cookies? I don't even know. I have been to Bakersfield. Not the best city. Don't love it. All right, let's just get back into the reaction here, guys. Watch this debate. Media disinformation. Conservative asks, we'll start this one over here. Okay.
Conservative, but I align more with like moderate views when it comes to policy, and I've heard a lot about conservatives and what their views are and what to like cause more unity rather than division, because I feel like there's a lot of division right now with liberal and conservatives, and I'm wondering what you guys and what your stance is on how we should create more unity and have more conversations, because we know
is Destiny even interested in unity? I think he's just scorched earth right now, right?
That like when we don't have conversations, civil war starts to happen, et cetera, and I'm wondering what y'all's plan would be.
You're not going to like this answer as a conservative, but I think it comes from the top down. Oftentimes, I think the president of the United States has to set the tone and provide moral clarity on what's happening. And like a really good example that you probably disagree with too was when Rob Reiner was brutally murdered a few days ago.
Oh my goodness. Captain Dan the Fireman with $2. Hey, Professor X, you missed my last one. Wait, where? I don't see it. Can you type it out again? I can read it again. Because I don't see it. For some reason, it's not showing up on Streamlabs.
And then Trump immediately decided to post this long...
Nope, hold on, not immediately. It was a day after all the conservatives got on Twitter and were like...
Burnt Bread with $2. We just got hit by a flood in northern Cali. Yeah, we have a flash flood warning going on here. Which, I hate weather events. It makes me feel so powerless. God, I fucking hate it.
Well, this is what our side does. Notice how we don't celebrate the murder of your guys like random Twitter people do, and then like 12 to 24 hours later, then Trump got on and then said, go ahead.
They tried to take the moral high ground, and Trump completely fucking undercut them and sideswiped them, and he just posted that.
True,
and then some of them switched positions and were like, yeah, that's base. Some of them were like, okay, a lot of conservatives thought that was way too far. Absolutely. I just think there's a unique problem with...
It isn't going to show because it was in a different stream. No, but it should still show up in Streamlabs, so I don't know. Captain, just type it out. Just type it out again. I'll read it again.
The way Donald Trump engages with the media environment. I mean, the way he entered U.S. politics 10 years ago was by saying Obama wasn't born in the United States. He like made a conspiracy about Obama. He said he wants to lock Hillary up, and he tried to say the election was stolen. I think that there are problems with people on the left online who say divisive things, but on the right, I just see it as a top-down problem. And when it comes to division, even within your own party right now, within your own party, between the Groypers and between the Ben Shapiro types, I don't even see J.D. Vance coming out with moral clarity. Don't you think at least J.D. Vance should come out and say, listen, he doesn't have to make it about his wife, but his wife is Indian. He should be like, listen, it's not cool to be anti-Semitic and hate Indian people. So I think if we had a top-down way to do that, listen, I'm not saying the Democrats are perfect either, but I just don't see Joe Biden or like Kamala Harris tweeting or using this insane type of shit, insane type of rhetoric, but...
And I think to add to this, the biggest issue with like calls for unity, as much as I appreciate it, is that when conservatives act unhinged, they get a lot for it. We lost the Gore election to a pretty crazy Supreme Court ruling. We lost a Supreme Court justice pick, which is a pretty big deal. In my maybe uneducated opinion, I feel like Amy Barrett could be like a swing vote in the Supreme Court, but right now she's just another conservative among 5 other conservatives. And so when conservatives can kind of act crazy and they get rewarded so much for it, and then after their disastrous presidencies, whether we're talking about Bush, whether we're talking about Trump 1, at the end with COVID and everything else, that when they can come back and say, well, we need to have unity now, it's like, okay, well, motherfucker, you got so much from your disunity, and now you're calling for unity. And like, what do we expect to happen? Let's say that a Democrat wins. Let's say we have like a Gavin Newsom president from 2028 to 2032 or whatever. Who's the next Republican going to be? Is it going to be a unifying Republican, or is it going to be like a Trump version 2.0? And it's like, well, fuck. Like one of the reasons why I love Biden so much, who's my American hero, I love Biden. What a great man. Is that I feel like Biden, for whatever conservatives said about him, he was the moderate pick. He came out, he worked on bipartisan legislation, he did everything he could to be a president for all Americans, and then you get Donald Trump that comes out and he's like, fuck everybody else. Here's who we're going to indict. Here are the
So I actually disagree with Destiny here. I think that Biden, to a certain extent, ran as a moderate, but I don't know. Even that is a little dubious. I think you could safely say he ran fairly progressive. I mean, if we use modern standards and we compare him to previous presidents, but the way he governed, I don't think he was moderate at all. I really don't. I think he was pretty progressive as a president. I think calling Biden a moderate is kind of getting stuck in like 2020 primary discourse, because it was like him versus, like Warren and Bernie and Julian Castro and, Pete and Kamala, and he kind of positioned himself and marketed himself as like the moderate that would govern sensibly, and he wasn't radical. I certainly wouldn't call him radical or his presidency radical, but he won and he was inaugurated, and boy, did he push some really progressive stuff. Emma Vigeland called Biden the best president she's ever had. I mean, there's no question that he's the best president in my lifetime. There's just no question about that. Wouldn't even hesitate for a moment. He passed the most progressive legislation of any president. This sounds like leftist cope to say he was just a moderate. Yeah, I just think, I don't know if this is just like a rhetorical thing for Destiny or whatever. I just, I disagree with him. I don't think he was like the moderate compromise. I mean, he was on paper, but that's just not how he governed.
immigrants we're going to fucking kill. Here are the states we're going to send the fucking military to. Here are the ways that we're going to support Israel, because why not, LOL. And here are all of the weirdo foreign people that we're going to support when it benefits me personally. And then if you want to donate to influence my opinion on any of this, here's the largest 2 crypto scams in the world, right? And it's like, if we have all this stuff going on the Republican side, damn, like where's the accountability? Like what incentive does the left even have for unity? Like it feels like a parent-child transaction all the time, and that, I don't know, that drives me crazy personally.
They took away the nice guy Joe Biden. They're not going to like what's standing behind
Now they're going to get the Gavin Newsom press team.
Yeah.
You know the Gavin Newsom press team.
Oh yeah.
They say bad words on Twitter.
They cook.
They're real big.
And it's just as bad as what the president of the United States does.
True, actually, yeah, true.
No, I really appreciate that question.
Yeah, thank you for the question. Also, wait, real quick, I will say also, if you're assuming you are what you say you are, like a moderate Republican, I feel the worst for moderate Republicans, because a moderate conservative, like a never Trumper basically, is they either have to kind of become a liberal or they're like a fucking outcast from their entire friend group, because they're all like crazy MAGA supporters. So your friends are all liberals who are like pro-choice and pro-pansexual and pro-whatever weird shit liberals are into.
He was not super progressive. He did nothing about Roe or the ERA. Well, he couldn't do anything about Roe. That comes from Congress. And he actually did do something about the ERA, but people just ignored him. Remember when Biden came out with that, was it a executive order or what was it? Like a memorandum? I'm not sure what it was, but he was like, he tried to unilaterally, ratify the ERA. And, I don't think presidents can do that, but yeah.
Right, which we are. We love that.
Oh, yeah.
But like, you have no conservative friends, because all your conservative friends are like, did you see Trump's epic fucking tweet today? And like, that's all you have for friends. And that's like, yeah, I feel the worst for like moderate Republicans. I have a few moderate Republican friends, and it's like, you guys got burned the hardest, I think. Thank you.
Who would still want to run in 2028 for the Democratic Party?
Good question.
Who would I ideally want to run? Right now, every prediction market says Gavin Newsom is the front runner. I don't know if...
That's not true. So well, actually, hold on. The prediction markets, Poly Market 2028 primary, Democratic Party primary. There's Kalshi 2028 election, Democratic presidential nominee. Yeah, by a wide margin on Poly Market, Gavin Newsom is the front runner with 36% chance. Kamala Harris, they say 4% chance. Well, the betting markets are out of step with the actual polls. The actual polls that include Kamala Harris show her as having decent sized lead, 8 to 12 points. I think right now the most likely outcome is she becomes the nominee, but that isn't to say that Gavin Newsom or even AOC don't have a chance. Things could change, but yeah.
If he's really I don't know if he'll appeal on a national stage. I mean, California is a pretty expensive state, and right now affordability is the issue. That seems kind of incongruent, right? Who would I ideally like to see?
It's too long. How are you going to say?
It's kind of
3 years.
Think about it like this.
I don't even know if we're going to have fair midterm elections.
Think about it like this. If you asked people in 2004 who they thought was going to win 2008, no one would have said Obama. And if you asked people in 2012 who was going to win 2016, no one would have fucking said Trump. Like, I would like to see like a Buttigieg or like, I guess Newsom's okay. I'm just a big fan of his social media. I honestly don't know. I want to see a liberal who can punch back, and I don't want to see him do the Trumpian type shit, but I want to see someone who can at least get down and dirty and, not just go high every time. What do they say? When they go low, kick them in the face. In a video game.
Not Kamala, she said.
Give me Mark Kelly. Give me that Mark Kelly nomination. He would win that shit so easily. That's my safest pick. I think if Mark Kelly was the nominee, he would have the best chances of beating the Republican.
No.
Okay. All right, thank you all so
She can run in the primary. Kamala can run in the primary. I have no problem. There's going to be a massive primary. This election I've heard is going to be the first ideological battle in the Democratic Party since like the 90s. I mean, we had Hillary Clinton win in 2008, but her and Obama were roughly the same in ideology. We had Biden in 2016. He was roughly the same. Or no, sorry, we had Hillary in 2016. I just messed it up. She was roughly the same as Obama. We had Biden roughly the same as Obama. We finally have the first real ideological battle in the Democratic Party between the more populist economics, or are we going to go back to...
I don't really understand this analysis because we definitely had an ideological battle in 2016 and 2020 with those primaries. Static with $5. Sorry, I'm 2 minutes behind. You think Biden was better than Clinton? Maybe I'm only remembering the budget surplus, but no other president can say that. Yeah, Biden for me was much more preferable to Clinton. Clinton was a product of his time. I think there's this tendency for liberals and leftists in the 21st century in 2025 to look back on Clinton and be hypercritical of some of his more centrist or even center-right policies that he signed into law or implemented through executive power. He did welfare reform and the crime bill, but he was a product of his time. There was no other Democrat besides Clinton that could have won. The appetite for government to do something about what was at the time like really rampant violent crime was really bad in the 90s. The appetite to address that was enormous, and so those policies that he signed into law were a reflection of where the voters were at after 8 years of Reagan and 4 years of George H.W. Bush. The 92 race required a moderate Southern Democrat. And so, if I think we have to be, what's the term? We have to be like relativistic, if that term applies. We have to be like relativistic when we evaluate previous presidents. So I'm not necessarily saying that I think Clinton was a bad president or like this disgraceful person or whatever. But in terms of just like policy, there's just no question that Biden is like, I'm a person who wants like the Nordic states type of economy and government, and so I tend to be more progressive, and so like his policies were just without a doubt the most progressive. I mean, he was the first president to like very forcefully address like trans civil rights. You know, like he walked a picket line for the first time president has ever done that. The ARP was an enormous social spending program that went way further than the relief programs that Obama signed into law. And so, I mean, just take your pick. Like the stuff that the people that served in his cabinet, the stuff that they did with their authorities, like Lena Khan, and just by far the most progressive president. Yeah. I've made the same mistake you just made. It's just relativism is a moral theory that isn't really proper in this contest. Yeah, I guess relative would have been better. Yeah.
To the center lib, stuff like that? Or is it going to be resist Trump? Is it going to be the Gavin Newsom resist lib type thing? Who knows if in 3 years resist liberalism is going to be the topic, or is it just going to be affordability? I mean, like AOC, I could see her coming in. I don't know if for the third time in a row running a woman candidate would be good, but if she wins the primary,
just because you
for the third time in a row running a woman candidate. What? I think you just misspoke there.
said that and you triggered me. Hillary smashed the popular vote. But she did. She won the popular vote by a
Biden
lot.
would have won the actual electoral.
I'm being so nitpicky, but she actually did not win the popular vote by a lot. She won by, I think, 2 million votes. Closer to 3 million. 2.9 million votes is what she won by. Biden smashed the popular vote. He won by, I think, like 7 or 8 or 9 million. Yeah.
Maybe. Well, we don't know. That's hard to say, you know?
I'm just making an argument. I think the Democrats have run uniquely unpopular.
Well, I think the future is female, so fuck you, Adam, okay?
Thank you for the question.
He's saying that because he has a female name.
Is this the MAGA kid?
Hello, my name is Landon. I'm 14. I'm a young liberal. And my question was, what do you think is going to happen to the MAGA movement, you know, after Trump dies? Because obviously these people have had these opinions.
Biden won by, yeah, about 7 million. Just about 7 million. 7.5 million.
For a long time, and they just really needed a speaker. So do you think it's going to continue like as severe and as divided as we are now, or do you think it's going to kind of settle down?
I don't think anyone as divisive can fill that gap. I think that the conservative movement will probably see some infighting. The thing with Trump is that he had all of the Republican Congress people wrapped around his finger in such a way that he could get the Republicans to vote for him for anything, but now he's starting to lose that. So Speaker of the House Mike Johnson, he lost on an Epstein vote like 2 months ago.
I'm getting so triggered right now because, you know, I'm ostensibly on Adam Mockler's side and Destiny's side, but they keep saying stuff that's not true. It's triggering me. It's just not true that Donald Trump had this like unlimited power, or this idea that he had this influence that he was able to affect any kind of outcome he wanted by putting pressure. I mean, it's true that maybe I'm nitpicking here. Like, it's true that he had a very large amount of influence within the party as the party leadership, and through kind of like a policy of like fear, you know, is people were afraid of 2 a.m. Truth Social posts that might end their career if they were to cross him. That's certainly more the case in the second term than the first term. But all throughout his first term and so far throughout his second term, he has been the Republicans in Congress have told him no a number of times.
He legit got rolled on an Epstein vote. And this just happened again with a discharge petition for the Affordable Care Act. So Speaker Mike Johnson got rolled again by the Democrats and a small amount of Republicans. I think that as Donald Trump's power wanes within Congress, he's going to become increasingly desperate, and the MAGA movement's going to fall apart. It's hard to tell who's going to take up the mantle.
Quite the take, buddy. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Like, there's been a number of things like when they were negotiating the one big beautiful bill, like the reconciliation package, there were a number of provisions that Donald Trump was pushing for publicly that didn't make it in that bill. Especially in the first term, he had pretty large Republican majority in the House and like a 3-seat majority in the Senate, and the Republicans immediately told him no on replacing Obamacare, repealing and replacing Obamacare. Well, I mean, most of the Republicans supported it, but like he couldn't get the party to pass that through reconciliation. You know, it's not like he needed a veto-proof majority. Couldn't get that done. Couldn't get funding for the wall to come from Congress, even when he had those Republican majorities in the first 2 years. Do you guys remember? Like, Paul Ryan was up there saying, we're not going to do the border wall funding. Like, he just, you know, Speaker of the House, Republican, just straight up said, like, Republicans were not willing to do that. This time around, you know, again, there were a number of provisions that Donald Trump was pushing for publicly that didn't make it in one big, beautiful bill. He couldn't get the Republicans to, he couldn't block the Epstein files. He was unsuccessful at pressuring Republicans to get rid of the filibuster. You know, maybe I am being nitpicky here. Maybe we can say that most of the time he was able to like get his way, but I don't know. To me, it felt a little misleading. Like I feel like Joe Biden got way more from his party than Donald Trump has. Way more. Are you kidding me? Like, compare the legislative track records. There's like no, they're very far apart. And now you have Republicans just openly saying, so if you guys don't know what budget reconciliation is, it is a mechanism to pass legislation with a simple majority in the Senate. And there are kind of strict criteria for what can qualify as reconciliation. I think you get 2 or 3 reconciliation bills per year. And it's just a way to keep the kind of wheels turning. And it mostly revolves around like fiscal policy. And through reconciliation, I'd have to go back and look at the bills. What did Biden get done through reconciliation? It was the ARP was the first thing he got done. I think the IRA was done with budget reconciliation, and I think one more. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure 3 of his like signature policies were through budget reconciliation. And you also have to remember he had a 50-50 Senate. There was literally no room for error. None. He could not afford to lose a single vote. Now compare that with Trump, who they did their reconciliation package. First of all, it took them until June to get a reconciliation bill done. With Biden, the ARP was passed, I think, within a month. That was in the first 30 days of his presidency, I believe, is when they got the ARP passed. It took Republicans and Trump until June, 5 months into his presidency, to get that reconciliation bill done. And now Republicans are just openly saying, we don't think that we're going to be able to get another reconciliation bill done. Like, we think that's it. That to me indicates someone who is not an effective leader of his party. Right? Do you guys see where do you guys agree with what I'm saying? When we use this rhetoric about Trump, like, oh, he was able to just push them to do whatever he wanted, I think it's giving Trump too much credit. He is a weak leader. He is ineffective. He is unequivocally ineffective as a leader. If he were more effective, they would be thinking about their second and potentially third reconciliation bill that they could get past the finish line before they lose the majority in the House next November. They would be thinking about like, okay, what else can we do? They're already throwing the towel in. They're already saying, I don't think we have the capital to get another bill passed. All they care about in Congress, the Republicans, like, they just want their tax cuts. And yeah. You're right, Hutch, but don't you think they're talking differently on purpose because of the audience that's in front of them? Maybe, but I don't know. This is something that I see said a lot, and it just drives me insane. It's like this reverse green. Sorry, it's been a while since I've said Green Lantern theory of politics, but it's like reverse Green Lantern theory, where, you know, your guy's weak because he couldn't get any legislation over the finish line, but the other guy is like super strong. I mean, in my defense, Smodge, it's been at least like a month since I've talked about the Green Lantern theory of politics. but it's reverse Green Lantern. Like that is what it is. Like you're putting out this image of Trump like he's this like political force of nature that gets whatever he wants through like sheer force of will or coercion or charisma, but he's super ineffective. They don't get a lot of stuff done. Hutch. No, plenty of Republican congresspeople did not want the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, especially provisions related to energy. Trump either gave them carve-outs or applied public pressure to make them save. No, I never said that he didn't get the bill passed, but there were a number of... Okay, you know what? I'll grant that to you. Maybe that's not the best example. But we're not even a year into this presidency, and he's completely, at this point, completely lost control of the Congress. Like, he has no sway whatsoever. Remind me, what's that again? Okay, you're trolling. You're trolling. The Green Lantern theory of politics? Just click on that article right there. It explains it. That article is from 2014, but it applies just as much to, it's just as relevant in 2025. Soon to be 2026. There are way too many people in this country that subscribe to Green Lantern theory of politics. It is the most triggering thing ever for me. It drives me insane. Hutch, you're mistaking what they mean by personal loyalty versus leadership or effectiveness. Trump isn't a good leader and doesn't use Congress well. Maybe I can just...
JD, the Democrat. So Speaker of the House Mike Johnson, he lost on an Epstein vote like 2 months ago. He legit got rolled on an Epstein vote. And this just happened again with the discharge petition for the Affordable Care Act. So Speaker Mike Johnson got rolled again by the Democrats and a small amount of Republicans. I think that as Donald Trump's power wanes within Congress, he's going to become increasingly desperate and the MAGA movement's going to fall apart. It's hard to tell who's going to take up the mantle. JD Vance doesn't have the same charisma. JD Vance doesn't have the same ability to wrap people around his finger. I don't think anyone as divisive as Trump's going to pop up. He's uniquely good at turning out low propensity voters who see clips of him, these voters who really don't vote a lot, just like young dudes who play video games and do that. He's really good at turning those people out. I don't know if there's going to be a...
Whoa, 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 whoa. Why are gamers catching strays here? Hang on, let me put on my... I just realized I wasn't wearing my gamer glove that I just spent $25 on. That kind of sucks, and I don't think I can return it. That's better. It's because I perspire. The thing is like, it works. It's like, it does work. Your hand is smooth across the mouse pad. Like I'm trying to make it so there's less friction between the bottom right of my palm, which drags along the mouse pad. Like I want more consistent kind of mouse movements, and it works for that, but it just fucking hurts right there. In that webbing, it hurts so bad. So instead, this is how much I'm into Arc Raiders. I'm so into that game that I want to like optimize everything. Instead, I bought this. I bought this. A little rechargeable fan, and I just keep it pointed at my hand. Then that way, we can get rid of the sweat. Get the one sim racers use. They have got the shit. I just put these on the bottom of my mouse. You see these? These little, they're called mouse skates. I just found out about these things. They work. This shit works. It's like $10 on Amazon. Just put it under my mouse, and it's like such a smooth glide on the mouse pad. You're such a COD gamer, it's insane. Dude, yes. I mean, back in the COD 4 days, it's like you buy like Turtle Beaches so you could hear footsteps. That was the hack back then, because everybody was using the shitty Xbox 360 microphones and like their TV speakers. Nobody was using headsets. Nobody. Like 5% of the player base were using headsets. And nobody used dead silence. And so it was just like a permanent cheat code. Here's the reality, guys. I wasn't really all that good at Call of Duty when I blew up on YouTube. I was like slightly above average, I would say. But I had such an insane advantage because I was using Turtle Beach headphones. And nobody used dead silence in pubs. And so I could get these, like, you know, 35-2 TDM, 40-3 domination. Like, just because I could fucking hear everybody, and nobody used headsets back then. It was amazing. And then everybody started using headsets because of people like me and like all the other COD creators at the time. Because all of us had headsets and we were all saying the same thing. Like, you need to buy a headset. If you want to be competitive in this game, you have to buy a headset. Anyways, we're going down memory lane with that one. I'm sorry, I might have missed a couple super chats here. Captain, I'm so sorry I missed you again. Captain Dan the Fireman with $5. Most vindicated I've felt in a long time was Ezra showing the evidence that moving further left issue by issue lost Dems total voters, not gain. Third. Yes, I'm sorry. I did. I finally got you, buddy. Are you still in here? Tell me you're still in here. Static Hair with $5. Sorry, I'm 2 minutes behind. You think Biden was better than Clinton? I think I already got you for that one. Do you guys know how fucking life-changing the YouTube shit was? Have I ever really gone into detail about that? Like, put yourself in my shoes, okay? You just moved to San Francisco to move in with your girlfriend. You're working at the Olive Garden. Maybe 25 hours a week. I wasn't even full time. You're, you know, the first time that it was like, you know, we split the rent and tiny apartment in San Francisco. So the rent wasn't even that high back then. So I think my share was like $600. And I moved in I think September maybe. And so, or October, I don't know. But like the first month that it was like, okay, you know, first of the month, where's your $600? I had to collect coins. Yeah, I had to go through and I had to gather all my coins and go to like one of those Coinstar machines. And even then I was like $100 short. And I told my girlfriend that I moved into this apartment with, like, don't think I can pay the whole rent this month. But what was I doing at the time? Wait, Hutch is back? What happened? Did I leave you guys again? I was playing Modern Warfare 2 obsessively. Because Modern Warfare 2 came out in November of that year. And I was playing COD 4. And Machinima had started uploading my videos. And they told me it's a 2.5 CPV. Or CPM. Which meant for 100,000 views, that was $250. If it got 1 million views, that was $2,500. And I was used to an income of like $1,300 to $1,800 per month. That was like roughly what I was making waiting tables. Like, not a lot of money. And Machinima starts uploading these videos, and they're getting like 400,000 views, 600,000 views, 800,000 views, sometimes over 1 million. And I'm like double checking the math, like, according to my math, I think Machinima owes me like $20,000 when they pay out the next quarter. That was crazy. That was crazy. That was nuts. That was such a profound life development. And then I agreed to give all that up. All the money for the views, I agreed to give all that up for $40,000 a year. Which I don't regret. I got very valuable experience working with Mr. Sark. That felt like a more secure option. I got introduced to production. I got familiarized with like the process of production, and it was like a very cool experience. And to be fair to Machinima, they did foot the bill for like $12,000 worth of dental work. I had some teeth issues, and I needed like 4 root canals. And I went to the top brass. I was like, listen, I think it's in your interest to not have a host whose teeth are rotting out. Will you help me pay for this? And they're like, yeah, just give us the bill. We'll pay for it. I was like, oh, that worked. Okay. And then they gave me a raise to $55,000 the second year. And I thought, I was like, what? You're going to give me a $15,000 raise? That shit should have been 6 figures. That shit should have been 6 figures year 1. And then finally I wised up. Finally. So at the end of 2011, when we were doing negotiations, that's when I finally was like, it's going to be this or I walk. You make a lot less, but you pay a shit ton less. Yeah, I don't know. Anyways. But that was a very valuable experience. To be fair to Cherry. I don't know if that phrase applies. But I did make a lot of connections. A lot of connections during that time. And I got a lot of very good experience. I ended up at $110,000, but I negotiated that. It was like $100,000 with a $10,000 bonus at the end of 2011. Nanners had actually made the decision to leave, which gave me a little bit of leverage because they didn't want to lose me too. They tried to hold out. They tried to be like, no, you don't get it. We can't do that much because of this and this and this. And I was like, nope, it's going to be that much or I'm out of here. Because everybody else, all these other creators, you know, Nanners, those early Minecraft videos, do you guys realize he did not get paid for those? Do you guys realize that? I mean, he eventually got paid because his channel did quite well. You remember those early Minecraft videos? That channel was monetized and Machinima was just pocketing all that money. How fucking crazy is that? I mean, I was still posting on my YouTube and those videos were getting very decent views, you know. Black Ops 1 videos, like those videos were getting hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions of views. Didn't get paid for any of that. They just kept all that money. Just kept all that money. But for Nanners, it's like 1,000 times worse because those early Minecraft videos, those were getting like, how many millions of views? Collectively, probably like 50 million views. Insane. And he didn't get paid for any of that, dude. It's crazy. Yeah. Anyways, sorry.
Repeat, but what do you think it's due?
It's okay to not vote. It's okay to, if you don't like, I feel like one of the big problems with the whole Trump thing is because Trump was such like a cultural phenomenon, he kind of like bled over into a lot of traditional non-voter demographics, and then those people thought it'd be a good idea to vote because Joe Rogan, you know, was like eating horse paste or whatever. And I feel like it's okay to just not be an engaged voter and to not vote. Like it's okay to not vote. And we need more of that. We need to encourage more non-voting.
Really? Don't you think a healthy democracy has an engaged populace, though?
I think a healthy democracy is when the people voting are the engaged Democratic public. Not like Democratic Party, but like if the only thing you know about politics comes from like one of the top 3 3 Spotify feeds right now, you probably shouldn't be voting at all.
Don't talk about Candace Owens like that, bro.
Well, Joe Rogan's up there too, right? And then who's number 3? It's probably like, what?
Rogan.
Rogan.
Isn't that, didn't I say that already?
Well, Rogan, Candace, and it might be like
Tucker, Sean Ryan.
Midas Touch is up there sometimes, but Sean Kelly.
The Midas people, they can vote, but none of the other ones.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That was a really good question.
Thank you. 14-year-old.
14.
Isn't that basically, how old are you again?
Did you get a sick satisfaction seeing Machinima crash and burn? Absolutely not, because all my friends lost their jobs. That was brutal to watch that. That did not make me happy at all. It made me, I felt, I just remember feeling like, Captain Dan the Man. $2. Attempt number 4, then I give up. No, I called it out. Are you still in here, Captain? Did you walk away from your computer? I'll read it again. Most vindicated I felt in a long time was Ezra showing the evidence that moving further left issue by issue lost Dems total voters, not gain. That's I would say a really big problem with the progressive space right now is they are working off of entirely incorrect assumptions that are not supported by voter trends and data and just like polling data. The progressive movement in the United States has been operating under this assumption, I think, for a really long time now, that the further left the Democratic Party moves, the more popular they will become. And that is just not what it said. There's like a couple things going on where there's a disconnect. The progressive mind, and I think it has a lot to do with alternative media and what these social media pundits are saying. And I think they spread a lot of false information. Because the first big mistake that a lot of progressives make right now is they firmly believe that the Democratic Party has moved right over the years, and that is not true. They have definitely moved left. In the last like 20, 30 years, like the Democratic Party of like the early 2000s or the 90s, the Democratic Party now are well to the left of that party. We can go issue by issue, reproductive rights, social spending, education, climate, foreign policy, just on basically every conceivable issue with maybe a few exceptions. The Democratic Party have moved left. And so they're wrong about that. And they're also wrong about the idea that super far left wing, they're also wrong about like where the broad electorate is at and how they view like very left wing policies. So they're just doubly wrong. And it's just like, and from that kind of foundational, what's the word I'm looking for here? Misunderstanding springs a lot of really bad ideas. And I feel like if they were to acknowledge those things and then work from there, like you can still operate within a progressive framework and advocate for progressive things and a progressive shift. You can still do that if you acknowledge the reality of what is actually happening and what has been happening. But it's a totally different framing at that point. You're no longer framing it like, see, if only you guys would have listened to us, then you'd have like FDR supermajorities. You hear that kind of stuff from like Kyle Kulinski. Like instead of that, it would be a more kind of earnest effort to do voter outreach. You acknowledge the shortcomings and then try to work on those instead of blaming everybody else for your failures. But yeah. There's a graphic that shows each issue the Democratic Party has moved left on. I think Ezra Klein might have shared that graphic in a blog post recently or in a New York Times opinion article. But they are correct that the Democratic voter is more left. Yeah. Well, it's both. Like the Democratic voter base is definitely more left wing, and that is reflected in congressional representation. Now the representatives and the senators are definitely more left-wing than elected Democrats from 30 years ago, because the more left-wing voter base are electing more left-wing congressional representatives and senators. Yeah. Not true. I mean, I'll make the point with one issue, but you can make it with several issues. But one issue that I always point to is abortion. There were several dozen elected Democrats just 15 years ago that were just explicitly pro-life, anti-abortion, and now there's one. Why do you think that happens? Because the voters got more left-wing on abortion and elected politicians who were pro-choice and pushed out the blue dogs and conservatives.
16.
Okay.
Old enough to fuck
Stop.
mom.
Okay.
Dazvidani with $10. They're bad long-term organizers. Republicans will celebrate a pride flag getting taken down at an embassy, but lefties will see getting rid of only $200 billion worth of student loans as a loss. Yes. Yes. The progressive mind, it's either total victory or total defeat. There is nothing in between. Yes. And their standards are so unreasonably high that they're just condemning the party to a perception of total defeat in perpetuity, because there's no way to reach their goals. They don't set attainable goals. Therefore, their total victory isn't even theoretically possible, because it's just totally out of the realm of possibility. What the fuck? Steam is down. I feel like that never happens. Is it Tuesday? Wednesday. Is Steam down? Because I want to play fucking Arc Raiders after this. Steam is not down. It is down. It's pinwheeling. It's definitely chugging. The store is down. The servers are not. Okay. Okay.
Adam, can you tell him to let me hold the mic, please?
We have to hold the mic. That's the rule.
I mean, no, it's high how it is.
Let him hold it. Bro, let him hold it. Stop censoring the public. Give him the mic. Give him the mic. Give him the mic. We're good. Yeah, do it.
Right.
Yeah,
Thanks.
there we
I don't know
go.
what your problem is, bro.
Yeah, fuck this guy. Okay.
Okay.
He's got
What's
that.
your
No, I'm
name?
just kidding. I'm just kidding. My name is Steven. I'm Steven. Or Destiny.
Sorry.
Yeah. Steven.
Steven.
Yeah.
I'm Mike. Mike in Munich. Adam and I, we know each other, right? But
We debated yesterday.
yeah, of course. How you guys going? You speak really fast. I watch YouTube videos at double speed. I wouldn't do that with you.
Thank you.
So, yeah,
That's
you
a
guys
compliment to me.
practice your rhetoric, and you're good with it. It's, you know, you're just like Charlie Kirk. You're talking with people
Well,
who don't practice on this type
don't
of thing
insult me
on a
on
day-to-day
stage, okay?
basis like you guys.
I didn't even tell me what you guys think. And Dazvidania, I'm especially curious as to what you think. Is Vishy in here as well? He was in here earlier. Vishy, are you still in here? I don't even think that big divide right now is on policy necessarily. I think it's partisanship. I think right now there is a growing antipathy. Is that the word I want to use? A deep-seated feeling of dislike. Yeah. There's an ever-growing sense of antipathy for hyper-partisan politics. I think a lot of people, and this kind of makes sense. I think we looked this up, but most of the country is relatively disengaged with politics. I don't think we have like really hard data on this, because I don't know if pollsters ever frame it this way. But we spent some time looking at polls a couple of months ago, I believe, on stream, and we tried to sort of get a sense of how engaged people are by looking at like a few different metrics, and I can't remember what they were, and but I feel pretty good about our methodology. Like we weren't coming up with like a specific scientific number that I would bet my life on, but it gave us a kind of good sense of like, so for example, I thought this was, you know what? Let's look this up again. I think a really good way that you can measure political engagement is by trying to get at the percentage of Americans that can tell you really definitively and accurately what the filibuster is. I think that's like a really good metric because that is someone who is going to be engaged in politics. Like if you know what the filibuster is, this archaic Senate rule, and because of that, you know what budget reconciliation is, like that's going to be someone who is very engaged in politics. And I think when there's like, how many people like, let's put it this way, like type it out in the chat. I want to know. How confident are you guys that your family, your core kind of nuclear family or whatever, could tell you in detail what the filibuster is? My dad could, for sure. Basically, I feel like everybody else in my family, not a chance in hell. My sisters, I don't think could tell you what the filibuster is. I don't think my nieces could, my nephews. Or like your coworkers, you know, like if you walked up to your coworkers and said, you know, tell me what you think the filibuster is, like how many of them could give you like the right answer? What percentage of the country knows what the filibuster Senate rule is? We looked this up and the answers are like, the polls that we saw were self-reported. Okay, here's a Pew Research poll from 2023. I'm looking at the poll. This is actually split by party. It's actually equal in terms of the parties. So according to this Pew Research poll, 51% of both Democrats and Republicans polled. This was a survey of US adults conducted in June of 2023. And 51% of Democrats and 51% of Republicans were accurately able to identify that the filibuster requires a 60% threshold, or 60 vote threshold. So those are among like registered voters, which is or registered with a party, which is like roughly 60% of the country. And it's like 40% are independents. I would guess that it's slightly lower for political independent, for registered independents. That number is actually higher than I thought it would be. To be honest with you, I thought it would be much lower. Either which way, I forgot what point I was even trying to make, man. Partisanship. So like there's a really good percentage. I'm going to say majority. I'm going to speculate. Is it a slight majority? Is it a clear majority? It's a majority of the country are just relatively unengaged with politics. And so even though I'm this pretty hyper-partisan Democrat, I very firmly believe that Republicans are like the source of all evil in this country right now. And if you go to the other side of the aisle, they're going to say the same thing about me and Democrats. I think on a number of issues, one of us has to be right. It can't really be both. It can't really be any in between. There's a lot of just like Republicans, I think, are working on a set of just very flawed assumptions about science and just so much. They just live on a completely different universe. But for people that are the people that are relatively to very disengaged, they don't really follow the substance of the things that you're debating because they're not wonky, they're not policy brained. They don't really know what the Congress is up to. They don't really know what the political parties are up to. They kind of have a sense of like some things that Trump is doing, but just very superficial nonsense. They see the fighting and they just don't like it. And that might be frustrating because I feel like if they were informed, they would have they would take a stance. They would actually pick a side but they just see it and they don't like it and it just turns them off and they don't fucking like it. Games are for kids with $10. I'm being a signatory to the petition to make Grassroots Hegemon a mod. I'll be the Hancock with the Giga Chad sized signature. Yeah, we can definitely do that. Is Grassroots even in here right now? He's one of the good ones for sure. Daz Vidani with $5. I think there's confusion of how most view partisanship. Progressives think it's based on issues, but really it's a perception of closeness to a party. Yes. I agree. Yeah. Progressives are very, 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 very policy brained. Like, I think my sister is a really good example of the kind of like archetypical kind of American that I'm thinking of right now. Because my sister has seen me and my dad argue about politics a lot and throughout the years. Not anymore these days. We just don't. I just don't argue politics with my dad at all anymore. I just refuse to do it. Once a year. Once a year, I'll throw a few things, but then it's like there's a time limit. It's like 10 minutes and I'm out. I'm not going to do this. But she's seen us kind of like really kind of battle it out over politics over the years. And I've heard her on more than one occasion say something to the effect of like, I just don't have a side. I just don't. That's all just bullshit to me. I think there's a lot of people in this country that kind of feel the same. You can say head in sand, you can be judgmental about that, but she is very active in her community, very active in her kid's life, very active in her career. So I'm not going to judge her for that. Or other people like her. She spends a lot of time focused on her family. Progressive just feels socialist at this point. It's definitely got more socialist-y. Yeah.
Hold the mic closer to your mouth, please.
I'm just going to call you a couple of things.
Hold the mic up.
Smigs, thank you so much for the primer. Swanee Bird with $5. Oh shit, we're back. We're back. Is Hutch officially a tornado survivor? I mean, that scared the shit out of me. I looked down at my phone. It's like, get to shelter. The fucking tornado coming. A tornado in Los Angeles? What?
Thank you. I was really, Steve, you really like Biden? You think he's a great guy?
Yeah.
Okay, what do you think about the pullout in Afghanistan?
What do I think about the what?
The Afghanistan withdrawal.
I mean, it wasn't ideal. It sucks.
Ideal? It
Yeah.
wasn't ideal?
It wasn't
That's an understatement, bro. I mean, hundreds of people were left behind. Thousands of people lost their lives because of the way they did it.
Thousands? I wasn't in like there was an ISIS terrorist attack.
I know.
Well, but like, aren't you guys? Well, I don't know if you're conservative now, but didn't you guys say like no
Thousands of
Afghanis?
Afghanis that helped the American troops were left behind to be killed by the Taliban because the Taliban knew who they were. They hunted them down. And
Now ask this guy if he would welcome more Afghan refugees into the country.
they killed them all. Biden couldn't give a shit.
Well,
And the
no, I
13
think Biden gave a shit.
No, it was.
Well, hold on. Wait. The person who abandoned allies the most would have been Trump when he pulled out of Syria and abandoned our Kurdish allies to the Turkish murders. Number one. Number two, the Afghanistan pullout
Changing the subject.
the Afghanistan pullout was an issue. Trump negotiated that pullout. Not only did Trump negotiate that pullout, before Trump left office, when he talks about the military ignoring his orders, the biggest order that they ignored was when he said pull all the military out of Afghanistan. Yeah.
This is a problem.
Okay, what's the problem?
He did that, I think, in the final 2 weeks of his presidency, right?
When we or you guys debate other people on subjects, you want to win, you want to stand your ground, you don't want to cede ground, you don't want to tell me that I was right about anything. You're going to give me account.
Low of bread, as a person that doesn't really, I guess, speak much on politics, what are your genuine thoughts on Biden and or Kamala? General thoughts? I think Biden is a very decent man. And every president, no matter how good they are and no matter how much of a decent person they are, when you're president, the decisions that you make are every day are life and death decisions. People live and die based on your decisions, and you're gonna make mistakes in the application of power. And so you can find examples of every president taking some action that had some bad result, or maybe it was intended or unintended. And so you just kind of have to acknowledge that in the analysis when evaluating like presidencies. But I think we got a decent sense of what Biden's priorities were. I think he made them very clear when he was president. He was very focused on helping American families, helping working class people, trying to remedy systemic inequalities, trying to disestablish the United States as like this nation building power. And I think we just got another warning, you guys. The warnings, they sound so scary. Okay. I already forgot what the fuck I was talking about. Totally forgot. We be here tomorrow, safety first. No, we don't. I don't have to leave anywhere. It's just like stay in place kind of a situation. But don't like flash flood warnings. Sure hope the drainage on my street is not blocked, because that could be bad.
Counter argument, Trump did this or that. I'm talking about abandoning the Air Force Base before you get the civilians out. What the fuck? Holy shit. Did the media call him out on it? No.
Jinx. Oh my God, Jinx, 20 gifted memberships. Jinx, thank you so much, man. Thank you guys. Thank you. Merry Christmas to you. Merry Christmas to you. Yeah. Thank you, buddy. Did he just say the media didn't talk about the Afghanistan withdrawal? Did he really just say that? Did he really just fucking say that?
Counter argument, Trump did this or that. I'm talking about abandoning the Air Force Base before you get the civilians out. What the fuck? Holy shit. Did the media call him out on it? No.
What?
That's fucking insane.
You mean his popularity suffered the most in the entire I don't know if it ever recovered after the Afghanistan pullout. I agree.
It did not.
That like it was definitely not ideal, but
Next up,
the issue is
I just want to point out several reasons why the guy
let's talk about the pullout deal that Trump negotiated. When Trump negotiated that pullout deal, the Afghanistan government wasn't even part of the deal. He went to Doha, he went to Qatar, and he negotiated the deal with the Taliban. When the Taliban was sweeping through after the U.S. was pulling out, there were Afghanistan National Army soldiers that didn't even know what they negotiated. That's kind of fucked up, right?
It was obviously and indisputably an absolute embarrassment debacle that cost uncounted lives.
Well, it was like 11
that died in ISIS. You love the guy that caused that. What about the guy that promised there will be no vaccine mandates and then tells everybody in the military?
Oh, I was just saying, you know, like I think Biden was a decent man, and I think he had the right priorities, and I think he was I would say a great president. And also asterisks, 2 asterisks, 3 asterisks is Gaza policy was a stain on his legacy, and his decision to run for president for a second time, and then also to press Kamala to not like be too critical of him, were very selfish actions that he took. So like, human beings are flawed. We're flawed, man. We can be one thing one day and another thing another day. We can make really good decisions on one day and we can make really bad decisions on another day. And, you know, Biden is accountable for his decisions. But all in all, when I look back on his presidency, I'm very glad that he was there from 2021 to 2025. I'm glad it was him. Very, very glad it was him. Kamala, I think, she seems to be motivated by a desire to serve the public. When you look at the scope of her career, starting in the early 2000s in San Francisco, and you look at her track record, she just has this very well documented track record of like fighting for people. And so I do think she's sincerely motivated by a desire to help people, and she's a fighter. She's kind of different from Biden. She's a bit scrappier. You didn't really see that during the campaign. I mean, you saw it a little bit. She would be a little bit feisty during some of her speeches. She was a fucking stone cold killer in that debate. So you saw glimpses of it, but you could tell they were making an effort to present her as more soft. I don't know how else to describe it. They were trying to present her in a more gentle kind of light. And what I want to see in 2028 during the primaries is I want to see that, like, I think she is a fighter. I think she likes to fight. I think she likes to challenge. Some people, they like to fight, you know, like she definitely likes to fight when you look at her track record. And if she shows that side of her, if she really leans into that side of her, and then strikes a good balance with other stuff too, then I think she has a really good chance of winning the primary and the presidency in 2028. Do you think she'll run again in 2028? I know she will. She 1000% is going to run again. She's not so subtly indicating that she's going to run again in 2028. She's not exactly being coy about it. Yeah.
Did he promise there'd be no vaccine?
That was part of that was a campaign promise in 2020. And then he forces all these military guys and women to either take the shot or get out.
Don't the military take like 20 or 30 vaccines ever? Like, they take a ton of vaccines.
Campaign promise 2020 Biden, there will be no vaccine mandates.
I don't think he made that vaccine promise.
That's
and also, when you're in the military, you get a lot of vaccines. That's part of what you do in the military. You're not a pussy. You get vaccinated against the diseases.
Wrong. Nobody agrees with you. When you deploy to others, so the military should have been forced to take the shot. Yes or no?
How many shots? Yes.
Is that a good idea?
Wait. How many shots do you have to take? You go up and down the line.
Experimental technology, not even a vaccine. And
it is a vaccine.
It didn't do what it was promised to do. It didn't stop the spread. It didn't keep people from catching it. It was completely.
So this claim was fact-checked. President Joe Biden's stance on COVID vaccine mandates is in the spotlight after sweeping new federal measures were outlined as the pandemic continued. The claim. Rep. Kevin McCarthy tweeted that Biden had said on December 4th, 2020, that he did not think the COVID vaccine should be mandatory. He shared a video of Biden, which he said was from December 2020, in which the then president-elect was asked, "Do you want vaccines to be mandatory?" To this, Biden said, no, I don't think it should be mandatory. I wouldn't demand it be mandatory. McCarthy, the House Minority Leader, accused Biden of lying after the announcement of new federal measures on the imposition of vaccines. Well, I mean, I think I can already see where this fact check is going. Actually, no, the fact check just says it's true, but I don't know. To me, that is a distinction. Like if you're talking about the federal workforce and if you're talking about the military, your job as the commander in chief of the military is to make sure that the military is prepared and ready to do military things. And so I think there's obviously a difference between mandating the vaccines from like federal workers in the military and then trying to do some federal mandate, which I don't even think the president has the power to do. Like, I'm not sure the president can force everybody to get a vaccine. But yeah, anyways.
Ineffective.
It was totally effective. What are you talking about?
Anybody that knows anything about it knows it was wrong to force people to take it.
Well, if we're going to do fanfics, I mean, we can say.
This is what I'm talking about when I say it's fucking boring to debate conservatives. This is what I mean. It's just, this is not at all challenging or stimulating or anything. It's just nonsense. It's so boring. So boring. Having the same fucking debates with these people for the last 10 years.
Say whatever we want, I guess. Yeah. Okay. It was very effective. It was super effective.
So how about this thing? Let's say defending our democracy, a threat to our democracy. What about democracy? What is the basic principle of democracy?
Well, it depends on, I guess, what you ask conservatives.
2 words.
How about a peaceful transition?
Yeah.
A government of the people, by the people, for the people seems like a good summary of it.
Majority rule.
What?
Majority rule.
That's not democracy. What do you mean?
Okay, but democracy is not majority rule?
Not always, no. What, don't we have like the...
I mean, you know, like, is it majority rule? That's like the spirit of democracy. Democracy, I think democracy in its most crude definition is just simply a form of government in which the people elect politicians to represent them. Maybe you could be more broad and just say that it's a type of government where people share in the responsibilities on a system of government by the whole population or all the eligible members of a state, typically through elected representatives. Yeah. And then how do you win, elections? Usually it's like with majority, but not necessarily, like as is the case with certain states that do like caucus type elections. And then also obviously presidential elections.
Protection for minority rights, isn't that kind of important?
No, I'm sorry. Majority rule is the principle of democracy.
Really? What about the Benjamin Franklin quote of like democracy is two wolves in a sheep voting on what is liberty
and principle of democracy? Yes or no?
Okay, we're talking to the audience.
You guys don't want to participate.
Dude, to debunk your point, Hillary Clinton won the popular vote.
The point being that 70%...
Wait, I just want to be clear. Do you think Hillary Clinton should be president in 2016 since she won the popular
vote? Majority rules. You talk too fast, man. I can't understand you.
Wait. Yeah, let me be much slower. Should Hillary Clinton have been president in the year 2016 of our Lord because she won the popular vote?
No, because we are in a democratic republic, not a democracy.
That's why I said it.
Copilot, Microsoft. The concept of majority rule is a fundamental principle in democracy, serving as a mechanism for the collective decision making and ensuring that the will of the larger segment of the population guides policy and governance. It establishes a clear and equal voting mechanism where each citizen's vote carries equal weight regardless of social standing or economic status. I mean, there are caveats and carve-outs in American democracy where a majority is not necessarily the thing that leads to a win, but generally speaking, the concept of majority rule is, I have to say, I'm leaning towards... I don't know what point he's making, but in setting up the point and establishing that democracies are based around the idea of majorities, he's not wrong about that.
Are we
generally
republic or democracy? It depends on the argument conservatives are making at the time. 2016 of our Lord because she won the popular vote.
Because we are in a democratic republic, not a democracy.
That's why I said it depends. Are we a republic or a democracy? It depends on the argument conservatives are making at the time.
Did he just score a point or something?
More specifically, we are a democratic constitutional republic. That's what we are. If you want to be the most accurate, we are a democratic constitutional republic. It's a bit redundant to say a democratic republic. Like republics are inherently democratic, but whatever. Yeah.
We are living in a democratic republic. Of course, we have the electoral college. There's nothing that we're going to change about that unless the convention.
So it's not majority rule. You know, listen, you want to know how I define democracy?
I didn't say.
I define democracy with 4 words: peaceful transfer of power. Who's the president who thwarted the peaceful transfer of power?
Well, that seems like a very, quite frankly, that definition is a little bit lacking.
That's not the point. We're talking about.
So you're not going to answer that.
The point I wanted to make.
Who thwarted the peaceful transfer of power, everyone?
There was a peaceful.
I mean, you can have a peaceful transfer of power between dictators, so.
Thank you.
There was a peaceful transfer of power, even in 2021.
After 12 hours of people saying hang Mike Pence, that's not peaceful. He didn't
but I don't want to go there.
Okay, so you don't want to actually talk about democracy.
I want to talk about this. We're talking about Biden. And the fact is...
And he said Trump is a threat to democracy. And he said, how is he...
I don't even understand where he was going with the whole majority thing. Like, where was that point going?
Biden, I'm pointing out 4 good reasons why he was not to be respected at all.
And one of yours got knocked down. So 3 reasons.
Is that 70% of Americans polled numerous times in 2024 did not want to have an open border policy. Did the Biden administration respect that clear majority? No.
When there was a border bill, 70%, when there was a border bill that was put up, who blocked that border bill?
The Republicans did because it was completely unnecessary in order to secure the border, as was proven 10 months ago when the border became secure.
So you want the president? So you want the president himself to just do everything via executive order? Do you know that like Congress is a part of the government, right? Hold on, wait. I just want to make sure. You know there's like there's a Congress, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Congress can pass legislation to do big border stuff, right?
Yeah, but
so isn't it bad for Trump? Hold on. You know, wait. You know that like
masters are changing the subject.
After 3, I'm not changing the subject.
Trump
after 3 years,
that border funding that was in that bill in 2024 was not necessary in order.
Like, if you are of the mind that there needed to be some kind of significant reform along the border to make it more secure or orderly, whatever. Anybody who's being honest with themselves would say that a bill from Congress would be preferable because that's a permanent fix. In theory, you know, until the next reform comes or whatever. But the idea of like, oh, well, it's not a big deal that they didn't get it through Congress because the president just did it themselves. It's like, okay, well, what happens if you elect a president that doesn't prioritize that? Well, a bill from Congress would have been better because it would survive the next president.
It wasn't necessary for him to do random shit under executive order.
You're interrupting me.
I'm not, yeah, because your point is fucking retarded.
I'm making a point you don't want to hear.
You're not making a real point. The point, yeah, if Donald Trump do anything via executive order, if Donald Trump do anything against the executive, no.
You will see no round.
Hold on. Do you think that Donald Trump when the next president comes in, they could just undo everything Trump does, right? Right? Right?
That's not the point.
Right? No, that is the point. Right.
Can
I hear that?
No, that is the point. Yeah.
Did he answer that?
No, he didn't answer like 3 questions.
Can the next president undo anything that the previous president does if he only does it via executive order?
Absolutely.
Not anything. That's not. I'm nitpicking so hard right here. Not really. I mean, Donald Trump, for example, tried to get rid of DACA, and the court said it was illegal the way that he was going about doing it.
Wait. Do you agree with that, sir?
I didn't understand what you said.
Could the next president, hold on, I'll speak slowly, I'm sorry. Could the next president undo anything that Trump does via executive order?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so wouldn't it be better if we use the Congress to do immigration policy?
It's not necessary. The laws are already on the books. The Biden administration had the policy of not enforcing them.
What did they not enforce?
That's not true.
Oh,
they enforce everything. What do you mean?
Steve, 70% of the country didn't want the open border policy. The Biden administration...
This fucking idiot... Like, this is one of the reasons why arguing with MAGA people is just so... It's like thought defeating. It's mind numbing. It's so dumb. He thinks that here's what's going on. Like, he thinks that our asylum laws, as they are written and enforced, and as they were enforced when Biden was president, he thinks that those laws, like people seeking asylum, if they're allowed into the country, that's open borders. But that's just Biden following our laws. He wasn't just, you say open borders, it has a very clear meaning. Like, open borders means like there's no border. Anybody could come in. There's no vetting. None of that. That obviously did not happen when Biden was president. But the volume of people that showed up along the border was significantly higher on Biden's watch. And so as such, there was a tremendously higher number of asylum applicants that were allowed into the country while their case was being adjudicated. But none of that was a violation of any law. None of that means that Biden was not enforcing our border. What it does mean is that we need to reform those laws. Like, we need to probably write some new laws when it comes to asylum because they're just not working the way that they used to.
Maintain the policy.
We didn't have open borders.
I'm going to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Is that respecting our democracy when a clear majority of 70% want
No,
the border
the fantasy
policy
world that
changed?
you've constructed is not very respective of our democracy.
2 points, and we'll give this one up, okay?
Okay.
Trump proved that the funding that the Democrats had said in 2024 was required in order to be able
Which it
to
is
close
required.
the border was not necessary in order to do it.
Okay, wait, be honest.
And
How mad are you?
two-
How mad are you that there are no mass
Let me make my 2 points.
Wait,
You're interrupting
one
me.
point at a time. There are no mass deportations, right?
I'm sorry?
There are no mass deportations, right? Mass deportations. Donald Trump,
Mass
every time he gets on stage,
deportations,
he says there's 20, 30 million illegals.
Yeah.
He's deported how many? Like 100,000, 200,000?
The criminals first, yeah.
So none. That's not
Which was
happening.
against
It's
it.
not happening.
Why do we want to put these people in prisons where they may belong if they came out of countries
I don't know.
where they
You
were
tell me.
actually
Didn't they
convicted
build the alligator Alcatraz? I don't know. You tell me.
You didn't want to let me make my point. You don't.
Well, I wanted to go one point at a time because I wanted to address the factual foundation for them. I understand you don't like to do that, but go
in
ahead.
the middle of my point.
Okay, let's hear point
Second
two.
point. You had
That's
2
not the way
points.
to debate.
Let's hear point
It's
two.
the
Let's
middle
hear
of the
it.
2 points. Yeah, go on.
Let's hear point two.
Go. Yeah, sorry.
I'm sorry?
Let's hear point two. I want to hear it.
Yeah, so number one, I've already said it. Clear majority wanted the border closed. Biden administration didn't respect it.
Like we've spent like 10 minutes on a fucking there's no other word for it. It's an uninspired word, but we've spent 10 minutes now on a really dumb point. We just wasted 10 minutes on a false premise. The premise is false. It's just a waste of time. It's an entire waste of time, man. And you're never going to convince this guy. This guy literally thinks that Joe Biden let fucking 30 million illegal immigrants into the country. And there's nothing you could show him that's gonna move him from this. And he's so emboldened in this moment. He has such deep conviction about this fact in his mind, and you can't move him away from it. There's nothing you can do about this. This guy is lost. The brain rot is probably permanent. There's a very low chance he's ever going to break out of this.
That two, Trump proved that the funding that the Democrats said in 2024 was required in order to be able to close the border was not necessary de facto.
This is not a long-term solution that Trump has proposed. This Biden border bill actually had increased asylum judges.
Z King with $5. Just to be clear, when Trump ended DACA in 2015, it took 3 years for DACA to be reinstated. Once SCOTUS made their ruling in 2020, it really sucked. Huh? Wait, I'm sorry, what? DACA is still a thing, though. My understanding was that the courts blocked Trump from ending DACA right away. And Trump tried ending DACA during DACA early in his first term. How long did it take for the courts to block him from doing so? Trump administration announced the end of DACA in September 2017. And then 4 months later in January of 2018, federal court issued a preliminary injunction the Supreme Court blocked the rescission in a 5-4 decision on June 18th, 2020, holding that the way the administration tried to end the program violated federal administrative law. So yeah, that was my recollection of things. It is now, but it took a while. It wasn't fully restored in 4 months. That injunction wouldn't work in 2025. Maybe. I don't know about, yeah. So my understanding is federal courts can still do injunctions, but I don't know.
Which would help streamline the asylum process. Donald Trump has not proposed any real long-term solution. Listen. It's the same problem with tariffs.
There are laws on the books
there
already.
needs to be continuity between administrations in policy. When it comes to tariffs, for example, if you do all of your tariffs via executive order, there's not enough continuity to actually, let me finish, to actually create the incentive for companies to move over. If you want tariffs to work, they have to be on the books through Congress. The same thing with immigration. You can't just have short-term solutions, sign the pen, not actually appoint more immigration judges or people who can process asylum claims. This is not a real long-term solution. Honestly, it's awful.
That's a separate subject. The thing is,
No, that's the subject.
With the border policy in
That's the
2024, Steve brought it up. Steve said that the Republicans were blocking the border policy.
They were. You said that.
That was only a funding bill. It wasn't going to change any.
You can turn it down. 76 is a lot. 72 during the day is probably better. Use the space. We could do that. The Pluribus finale's live. Yeah.
Laws, all the laws are already on the books regarding how people are allowed to come into the country and how they're not allowed to come into the country. Next point. So Trump, why was Trump impeached the first time?
Was it?
Because he illegally froze funds appropriated by Congress in an effort to coerce a beleaguered president of another country who was reliant on US aid to pressure him to drum up dirt on a political rival. Like, it was one of the most politically corrupt things a president's ever done, and it was so brazen too.
Was that for the Ukrainian thing, or was that the J6 thing?
The Ukrainian thing? What was it? What was it called?
Well, I think the issue was that he was making phone. I think he was making a phone call. I think he was calling the Ukrainian government and threatening to withhold congressionally approved aid.
Not threatened. He did. I mean, he did. They froze it. They froze that ship.
If they couldn't dig up dirt on his political opponent.
I do presume, Steve, as a well-informed individual that you are, that you must have seen the video of Biden literally bragging on camera at the
These fucking idiots, dude. They literally think like it's not even superficially plausible. Like Biden, I didn't even know how do I find this video? Biden admits Ukraine. I don't know. No, I need something more specific than that. There's this one video of Biden sitting on some kind of a summit. I don't know where it was. And he's sitting on stage. He's being interviewed about his time as the VP. And they get to the topic of Ukraine, where he talks about how he went to Ukraine and he told Ukraine, you know, we're gonna block this aid. I think it was like $1 billion of aid. I think he said, I'm gonna freeze this aid until you fire this corrupt prosecutor named Victor Shokin or whatever. And there's like a 20-second clip that idiot MAGA Republicans look at and they think like, oh my God, holy shit, that's the smoking gun. We got him. He's admitting it. But there's some pretty intense points of context here. Number one, he was acting as a representative of the Obama administration. He was not doing anything unilaterally. Number two, he was acting in concert with Congress. Republicans at the time supported the administration withholding that aid that Congress had approved because they were on board with the same effort to wipe away or get rid of corruption in Ukraine. They were on board with it. You can say, like, congressional Republicans are like, yep, go do that. It was official U.S. foreign policy. But they came up with this insane conspiracy theory that Biden did this because this prosecutor was like days away from announcing charges against Hunter Biden in his capacity as like a board member of Burisma, which is this energy company in Ukraine. It's all conspiracy theory nonsense. But is it even superficially plausible that if Joe Biden had really done this corruptly to, you know, shield his son from legal trouble in Ukraine, do you really think he would go to a summit and then, like, in front of cameras and a live audience, hold the mic up and be like, son of a bitch, I got that thing done. You know, I got that guy fired. Like, do you really think he would be that stupid to do something like that? Or that brazenly corrupt? It's not even superficially plausible. It's been years since we've done the first impeachment discourse.
the meeting of the Council on Foreign Relations about how he strong-armed Poroshenko to fire the prosecutor. He said, hey, you know what? I'm going to be leaving here. Looks at his watch, 6 o'clock. You know, if that prosecutor that's looking into Burisma and the corruption that my son is involved in isn't fired...
That's just it's just inventing reality here.
In the next
why did nobody?
You're interrupting.
Final response.
Biden said it on camera. If that guy's not fired, you ain't getting the $1 billion loan guarantee.
Yeah, this is called.
He did on camera, indisputably, exactly what Trump was impeached
And why
for. The mainstream media didn't let the American people know about it. What do you mean no?
Biden was representing.
This is indisputable, Steve.
Okay. Impress me, Destiny. Impress me. I want to see. I want to see the depths of his knowledge on this one.
He was representing the foreign policy of the Western world, saying that in order for Ukraine to qualify for discounted loans, they had to clean up the corruption of their political system. Shogun was the head of their prosecutorial, their DOJ, basically.
You don't want to say, you know what, you're right.
We got to move on.
Well, because you're not right. Why would I say no, you're right when you're not right?
Mic back to him.
We need the mic. Thank you, Michael.
Yeah, thank you. Listen, I appreciate you.
You should make the point that the decision to do that was backed by the IMF and the EU as well, and Republicans in Congress. You should make that point. If it was really about protecting Hunter Biden, why did the IMF support the move to strong arm Poroshenko to fire that prosecutor? Why did the EU support that move? And why did Republicans in Congress support that move? And the debate ends right there. That's it. It's just like, well, were they all trying to protect Hunter Biden? Obviously not, right?
Break coming up talking. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. But also, like, there's a reason why nobody cared what Biden said until the Republicans saw Donald Trump do really bad shit.
I literally did on camera.
Thank you.
Let's get the next one.
No, it's not the same thing. It's not even remotely the same thing.
Thank you, sir.
All right. I did want to watch the erudite Christian nationalism debate.
The topic today is America First is not Christian.
What do you mean by Christian? I don't know like what specific denomination you subscribe to.
I would say anybody that agrees to the Apostles' Creed fundamentally is typically viewed as Christian. So Protestants, Catholics typically do. I think some sects of Mormon also appeal to the Apostles' Creed. Eastern Orthodox, you are America First, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Since you
What is the Apostles' Creed? Boy, it's been a long time, you guys. It is a statement of Christian faith that summarizes the beliefs of the apostles. It begins with the affirmation of belief in God, the Father, the Almighty, creator of heaven and earth. It includes key tenets about Jesus Christ, his birth, death, resurrection, the Holy Spirit. The full text can be found on the USCCB website. Okay, yeah.
agree to it. But you're also a Christian nationalist.
Yes.
Okay, square that circle for me. What exactly is America First about being a Christian nationalist? Like,
Well, the question is being America First Christian? I would argue that it 100% is, and we can look at St. Thomas Aquinas' idea of ordered love, meaning you have a responsibility to the people closest to you. So just like it's immoral, if you were to feed your neighbor's kids while your own kids go hungry, it's equally immoral to support policies that harm your country's people, but benefit those from other countries. And this has been explained in the Catechism as well. So.
That's really weird. So, you correct me if I'm wrong about the Bible. My understanding is that God gave up godliness to come down to earth, right? He sacrificed it.
No, he did not. Jesus is also a God and man.
Yeah, but he also became man, right? I mean, do you want me to just pull up the verse for you? God's sacrificial love. We can just go there if you want to.
I understand that Jesus is fully God and fully man, yes.
Okay, great. So God sacrificed by coming down. In fact, he sacrificed so
Jesus was fully God and fully man. Does that make sense? I don't know. There's a lot about Catholicism that still confuses the shit out of me. Like the Holy Spirit, what's up with that? Isn't that just God? Why do you need a separate Holy Spirit? What the fuck is that all about? It's just, they're separate, but they're all one. Like the Holy Trinity. It's like, yeah, they're their own things, but they're the one thing. It's like, come on, just pick a lane here,
So much that he died for not just his friends, not just white Americans, but for, I'm assuming, the world, right?
Yes.
Okay, so sacrificial love seems to be a pretty fundamental piece of Christian ethos. Would you not agree?
Yeah, are you going to respond to my claim that ordered love is...
She is. She's kind of walking you through the response, isn't she?
Virtuous? Like, what do you think? Like, if I were to feed my neighbor's kids, but my own kids went hungry, Do you think that's virtuous because you're loving your neighbor's kids?
It depends
Oh, Kyla's going to have to practice a lot of patience in this conversation, isn't she?
on if you're feeling that you're called to do so, right? I would imagine that
So it's
God
a
would
feeling
probably say
thing?
that you would split it, right? Like, I don't know in what world.
There's
I'd be like,
this
I
is-
have one loaf of bread. I can't possibly figure out fractions and just like give
I
all
mean,
of it
well,
away.
Poor people exist, so yeah, that is definitely a
I
scenario
don't know
that
how
could
that's a
happen.
rebuttal. You're right. Poor people do exist. Thank you. Rich people exist. Yes, yes. White people
I don't know why I'm
exist.
saying that's not a
Oof, damn. Kyla's going demon mode in this debate. I've never seen her so contemptuous. I kind of love it.
There is quite literally a Bible verse that says.
All right, if I have-
there's
if I have a
wait,
loaf
wait,
of
wait.
bread-
If you're going to cite the Bible, there's a Bible verse that quite literally says that if you were to take care of someone else's child before your own, you are worse than an unbeliever.
Cite where that's from.
It's in 1 Timothy something. I don't remember.
Okay, I'm sure that's there.
Why is it? It is. You guys can look it up. That's a verse.
Sure.
It is.
So here's one of the issues, right? Is your
Hold on. All right, hold on. Do a little research here. Is there a Bible verse that references an act of feeding other children before feeding your own as being immoral? No. The closest passage people usually cite is Timothy 5, chapter 8, verse 8. Timothy chapter 5, verse 8. Anyone who does not provide for their relatives, and especially for their own household, has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever. What it does say, neglecting your family's basic needs is morally serious. You have a special obligation to your household. What it does not say is that helping others first is sinful, that generosity to outsiders is immoral, that charity must never come before aid to family in any circumstance. The issue here is neglect, not priority order in a single act.
Creating like this world where essentially I have a loaf of bread and I'm going, actually I'm going to give none of this. But the America First, like look at America right now, right? America doesn't go, we're actually going to spend zero money on Americans. We're not going to have welfare. We actually do have these things. And then we also do things like US aid, which I imagine you're opposed to. And so the whole issue with being a Christian is there is a fundamental piece, which is caretaking of others, right? If you want to look, for example, I'm sure you know this. Do you know the parable of like the Good Samaritan?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so what happens in the Good Samaritan?
There's
Okay. Fuck! It's been so long, guys. Son of a bitch! It's been over 25 years. No. Yeah, it's been like 25 years. Oh, God. How do I not know this? It's a Good Samaritan. Something about like passing a homeless guy on the street. I know it's something to do with that. Like you pass a homeless guy on the street and then you don't do anything and that's bad. I think.
why are you? Yes, I understand. Like if someone is suffering, you can help them out, but there is a certain amount of reason.
Hold on. Parable of the Good Samaritan. Hold on. I remember the parable that I remember the most is the parable of the mustard seed, which I always thought was bullshit. It's like, why is he being so hard on his son? How is he supposed to know? You didn't plant your mustard seed, you fail son, you piece of shit. Like anybody could have made that mistake. You gave me a fucking seed. I don't know. I just hung on to it, you know? It begins with a lawyer asking Jesus what he must do to inherit eternal life. Jesus responds by asking what is written in the law, to which the lawyer correctly answers, love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength, with all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. To illustrate the concept of neighbor, Jesus tells the story of a man traveling from Jerusalem to Jericho who is attacked by robbers, stripped of his clothes, beaten, and left half dead. A priest and a Levite pass by but choose to ignore the injured man, avoiding him entirely. However, a Samaritan, who is typically viewed with disdain by the Jews, that's what this co-pilot says, stops to help. He bandages the man's wounds, takes him to an inn, and pays for his care, promising to cover any additional expenses upon his return. I fucking nailed it. I fucking nailed it. Someone's on the street, you gotta fucking help them out. Boom. 11 years of parochial Catholic schooling.
Resources that America has. If we were to give away all of our resources to other countries and our own people starve,
because nobody's saying give away all of our resources.
There is a limited amount of resources, yes.
That is true.
Just like there is
like
on a familial
exist.
level, there also is when it comes to your nation.
Do you think that what I'm advocating for when I'm saying that America First, so when I say America First is unchristian, is because fundamentally what it does is it looks at every resource that America has, the #1 economy in the world, right? Trillions. It's worth trillions of dollars a year. And it says, you know what? We can't help others. It has to fundamentally be about us all the time. Not only is this stupid foreign policy, because soft power is incredibly important and it weakens our allyships, but on top of this, it's fundamentally selfish. What you're saying is, I know I have a lot, but nobody else can have any of mine. That's
I don't know, you know, for those of you guys that were raised in the faith, I don't know what denomination you belong to, what church you belong to. Generosity and taking care of the poor was very highly stressed in my church. Yeah, charity and generosity were very strongly stressed. It was a big focus of my Catholic upbringing. We would volunteer. Like the school that I went to, we were mandated to serve our communities. And so like we had, was everybody, actually, I don't even know. Was this like school policy? I think I had to do like 150 hours of community service every summer to go and do stuff. And I don't remember the specific stuff that I did, but like, it was a big part of the church. Big part of the Catholic Church was like taking care of the poor. Like the Beatitudes. There's like a whole section in the Bible, you know, blessed are the, oh God, what did they say? The Beatitudes. Blessed are the poor in spirit. Theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn. Blessed are the meek. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness. Blessed are the merciful. Blessed are the clean in heart. Blessed are the peacemakers. Blessed are those who are persecuted for the sake of righteousness. But like, I guess poor in spirit, that's not really the same thing as like materially poor. Maybe I misinterpreted that when I was a kid. But anyways, yeah, I mean like the charity, participating in acts of charity was a big part of the church that I was raised in. And of course, this is completely contradictory to the entire spirit of America First. It's almost like absurd. No, it is absurd. It's an absurd bastardization of Christ's teachings. There's nothing you could pluck from the Bible to make the case that Jesus would have been cool with like nationalism. It's fucking absurd. Please stop trying to quote things from the Bible, Hutch. You obviously know nothing. Listen, we studied the Bible every day in my life for 11 years, every day. It's been a long time since I've studied the Bible, but you know, I could not have the kind of debate that she's having right now. I would have to spend like months preparing for that to get a refresher. But the idea, like, hold on, what exactly are you pushing back against here? Romani, do you think that Jesus would be like, do you think that Jesus would be okay with like Christian nationalism or any kind of nationalism? Is that what you're pushing back against? He might not have been so angry with nationalism, but ethno-nationalism maybe? No. No. Nationalism is the idea of prioritizing your country to the detriment of other countries. There's no quote in the Bible that you could find from Jesus that would give you any kind of sense that he would be cool with that. It's not that he rejected the notion of like nationhood, although I don't even know. I don't think he rejected nationhood, but nationalism, no. He would not have been okay with that.
That's not Christian. I'm not saying America should bankrupt itself and give away all of its money and then like live in the gutter. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that America First supports the banishing of US aid. It supports not helping Ukraine in the war. That to me is both fundamentally selfish.
Just you and your mangling of parables. The mustard seed is not the same as the parable of talents. But no, I'm completely with you on Christian nationalism. Okay, so hang on. My recollection of the parable of the mustard seed was a dad, and he had 3 sons, and he gave each of his sons mustard seed. He said, I don't know what he said, but he came back after like a month or 2 weeks. I don't know. Like, okay, what did you do? And the first 2 sons did something where they like, one of them planted the mustard seed, and then that produced more mustard seeds. And then the other one kind of did something similar. And then there was one that was just like, I just put it in my pocket. Here you go. And then the dad was like, you fool, you idiot. You could have had 10 mustard seeds if you would have done this right. It's like, you're the dad. Wait, is that the parable of talents? What the fuck is the parable of the mustard seed? I remember reading, hold on. What the fuck? Jesus compares the kingdom of heaven to a mustard seed, which is one of the smallest seeds, yet when planted, it grows into a large tree that provides shelter for birds. Okay, hang on. Parable of talents. Jesus tells the story of a master who goes on a journey and entrusts his property to 3 servants, giving them different amounts of talents, which is a unit of currency. Oh, I completely just combined 2 unrelated parables. It wasn't mustard seeds. He gave them money. He gave 5 talents to the first servant, 2 talents to the second servant, 1 talent to the third servant. Upon the master's return, he asked each servant to account for what they have done with the talents entrusted to them. The first 2 servants have invested their talents wisely and doubled their amounts, receiving praise and greater responsibilities from their master. The third servant, however, buried his talent out of fear and returned only the original amount, leading to his reprimand and punishment. I remember being taught this one when I was a kid. I was like, what the fuck, man? How the fuck is the servant supposed to know? You gotta spell it out. What if nobody taught him about investing? Not his fault.
And unchristian.
So what I think that America First is about is simply, it doesn't mean we can't help other countries or even other people who live outside
Do you
of America.
support the banning of U.S. aid?
Can I finish, please?
Do you support the
Thank
banning
you.
of U.S. aid?
Can I finish what I was saying? What
you
it
can,
means-
but I'm just going to
what
ask
it
you the
means
same
is
question.
That we put American interests first. That's what it means. It
Yeah,
means
be
that we are
selfish.
not prioritizing.
I hear you. Be selfish. I hear
Right?
you.
So even with Ukraine, I mean, even if I'm not even fully against sending any money or helping out Ukraine at all, because if we were to help Ukraine and that helps America, I'm fine with that. But
So
I
you
don't
will
want,
only
I don't
help
want
Ukraine
America-
if it helps you. Very Christian, by the way. Look,
Well,
I'll be
yeah.
Kyla. Jesus, take it easy on her. My goodness.
generous to you, but only if
On a
fundamentally it's good for me, guys.
on a
You know,
foreign
gotta get that money.
on a foreign policy level, if we, why would I support foreign policy that is bad for America? Like, what are you trying to say?
Why would supporting Ukraine be
support
bad for
foreign
America?
policy that is good for America. I'm fine with
How
supporting
is
Ukraine.
U.S. aid bad for America?
I think it would depend on the specific U.S. aid. Like,
Okay, how is giving malaria injections to the poorest in Africa, which has been banned, by the way?
we have poor
Why is
people
that bad?
here in America. Like, would you rather money go to people in another country or
Do we
money
have
go to people in
welfare?
America?
Do we have welfare?
Yes.
Do you support? Wait, hold on. Do you
Oh my God, she's getting tore up.
support welfare?
That's probably not the best analogy or expression to use right there.
Poor, like, yeah, in certain
Like
situations.
food stamps,
sure.
you're for people getting food stamps?
Yeah, sure, in certain situations. I'm not fully
What are the
against it.
situations you would not allow people to get food stamps?
If they're just, like, if they don't have a disability, if they're not working a significant hours, if they're not trying to find a job, I don't see why we should pay for them. But
So, okay, so a lot of people on food stamps are like war vets and stuff like that. Are you for supporting war vets? Are you for helping them in that way?
this is kind of going, okay, so you support
She's not gonna
foreign
answer the question.
Just to clarify your position, you are okay with us having foreign policy that does not directly benefit America. Is that your position?
So,
Because you,
I
because
don't-
I was
I don't-
saying
I-
I
can
support
you
American
ima-
foreign
how-
policy that
how is-
benefits America. That's my position. What's your position? Do you support
how
American
is
foreign
U.S.
policy?
aid? How is U.S. aid bad for America?
How
is
does
it
it
not
benefit
benefiting
America? How is
Well, in large part, when you help African countries with like some of the most destitute issues that they have, those countries tend to be warmer towards America. So that, for example, if you need to establish a military outpost, which is very important in wars, by the way, you have these countries good relationships where you might be able to establish an embassy and be able to go there. U.S. aid is not only just good practically, it's also morally good, because guess what? Children in Africa dying because of malaria when we can just help them is bad, actually. And if America, for example,
Okay, that's not
after
saying-
According to who, though? No,
USA, do you-
I'm obviously kidding. Jesus
you know
Christ.
how many people died
I take the
after
point.
U.S. aid got ended?
No.
600,000, 2/3 of which were children, by the way. Not very
Okay.
Christian of us.
Okay.
But you support that.
I support American policies that benefit America.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I support.
I gotcha.
And I don't know how you're saying that's incompatible with Christianity.
Because
That's
Christians
very
shouldn't be
weird.
fundamentally oriented by being selfish. You're saying, well,
No,
I
it's
might
not
help
selfish.
these poor people, but only if I
want-
know that it's
if
going to
I'm
help me
patri-
first.
if
Very
I'm
Christian, by the way.
patriotic- If I'm patriotic and I say, I care about Americans, I support policies that are going to help
Who are you
Americans
talking to?
more than everybody else. The
Are you talking to
audience.
me or are you talking to them?
I'm talking to them, yes.
Why? I'm talking to you. I'm your debate opponent.
If I support policies that
she's
are
gotta
going
have
to
a
place
pundit.
American interests first and help Americans, doesn't mean we can't help anyone else, but I care about Americans more
So
than
did
others
Christ
because I'm American.
allow his son to
That's
die because
not
it was good for him?
unchristian.
Did Christ allow his son to die because it was just good for him?
No, he loved others, and I think we should love others too.
Would you say it was actually selfless?
I'm not loving my fellow countryman if I care about someone on the other side of the world
Why
more
can't you
than
just
them.
care about both? I feel like I can both support welfare within
You
my
can.
state. Of course I can. We do it right now.
We
I
have
can
a-
support.
we only have a limited amount of resources, and, when
And
it comes
yet
to-
America was able to both manage a welfare state and U.S. aid.
So where's your limit? Where's your limit? How about that? Where's your limit for helping others? Do you have one? Like when it comes to America sending our money overseas, like do you have a limit? Like there's a certain point where it's at a detriment to America, right? Would you
You
not
would have
agree
to
with that?
establish the detriment. I mean, the amount of money that America would have to be sending overseas that would actually be detrimental. One of the problems with this is, again, your lack of foreign policy knowledge. For example, why is it good for America to send weaponry to Ukraine? Do you know why?
I think it's good because Ukraine can be an
Why
ally
is
in
that
some
good
ways.
for-
And I see Ukraine as part of sort of an American outpost right now. I support American imperialism, so I would be okay with that.
Right. So when you're asking for like this sliding scale of like how much is too much, it's like you're fundamentally not even understanding the way that foreign policy exchange happens, which is still devoid from the Christian argument, for example, which would say, as a good Samaritan, what did he do? He pulled over, he gave him his wine and oil, and he paid for everything.
Yeah,
and Christ lauded that individual.
Should do that. I think we should do that. If
Except
you come
to poor
across
children in Africa getting malaria.
Somebody on the street who needs something, help them out. That's good on an individual level, but it doesn't work with politics. Our nation's policies have to prioritize. It's like our nation has to help us out.
So first of all, that's still just bad foreign policy. There's a reason why all Western democracies have created this like exchangement
I
rate.
think you're for some reason thinking I don't support backing Ukraine when I have said multiple times that
Do you
I'm
support
fine with
U.S.
that.
aid?
What?
U.S. aid. I've asked you a million times. Do you support U.S. aid?
Probably not. Like I don't know what
Probably
every
not.
single
Exactly.
element
And why would you?
goes to.
And the only reason you support Ukraine is because it
I would
benefits
support
us.
U.S. aid if it benefits America in some way.
Yeah, this is like the unchristian piece, right? Like if
No,
you're
it's
just a
not.
secularist who's like, honestly,
Wait.
I'm selfish. As long as it benefits me,
Wait,
then
sorry.
I'm happy.
Are
that
you
would
even
be
American?
fine.
Wait a second.
That would
Are
be
you even
fine.
American?
That
Are
would
you
be
American?
fine. No, I'm Canadian.
Oh, okay. So that's why I don't care about putting America first. You're Canadian.
You don't even understand your own foreign policy. That's not a dunk like you think it is. I can assure you,
Are
my
you
friend,
Canada first?
if a Canadian understands your politics better than you do, that's a dunk on you.
I support you going back to Canada and being Canada first over there, and I'm going to be America first here.
I'm a legal immigrant of America. Is that a problem for you? Don't clap, please.
I don't know. I think it's fine.
I have never seen I feel like I've seen a lot of Kyla debates, and she's usually so diplomatic, and for some reason she is just oozing contempt, and I fucking love it. There's something very cathartic. She is just oozing with contempt. Does she have a history with this person? She's always like so diplomatic, I think.
support a moratorium right now, so.
Well, I'm white, so that's a good one, right?
I'll let you stay. It's okay.
Well, are you happy? Are you okay with me being an immigrant in your country?
I just said I'll let you stay. Sure.
I don't. Okay.
We'll
I
take
don't
a
even know
few
what answer
from
that is.
Canada. That's fine, I guess.
Okay. So if we want to go back, for example, U.S. generosity is.
Swanee Bear with $10. I have nothing to add to the religious conversation, but fun fact: the wild mustard plant is the plant we get broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, cauliflower, kale, and kohlrabi. Wait, what? Huh? What the fuck? It all comes from the same fucking plant? Is this, Chad, is this real?
The leading form of global health and humanitarian relief. USAID saves lives by preventing HIV, preventing AIDS, disrupting.
TB with $5. She doesn't know what USAID is. She thinks she's being asked about USAID broadly. Is that what's happening?
Labor issues.
On the other side of the world. We have
why, as a nation who was born on you would probably argue, Christian values, why would a nation develop for centuries?
Who is this? Who is this young blonde woman? Who is this? Does anybody know her name? Who is this woman? You say you've seen her on Jubilee. I'm trying to find her channels. You know what? This is a job for... Oh, is it Sarah Stock? Okay, found her YouTube channel. Trump goes DEFCON 3 on Somalian scammers. No. She said DEFCON 3. I wonder if that was an intentional pun or if she thinks it's actually DEFCON. How to ignore the feminist hags and get married young. Is she...
Young women are what I think one of the biggest problems in society today. And it's
What a start to a video. Headless Chicken, thank you so much for the gifted sub. Appreciate it, buddy.
It's not because women are bad by nature, but it's because they have been indoctrinated after years and years of propaganda and feminism that has made it so they think that getting married is a trap and they shouldn't get married until pretty much all of their eggs are gone and they can only have 1 or 2 kids. And then you wonder why our birth rate is falling and we have to be replaced by foreigners in our own country.
Z-King with $5. Being Christian is a total virtue signal for people like Sarah and so many on the right. Also, Kyla is queen. I mean, she's just decimating this fucking idiot. This simpleton. This is just not a bright person. And I get the sense that she doesn't even have the capacity to be bright. Like, I think she's working within certain limitations here.
Well, Savannah Stone is an influencer on Instagram and on TikTok. She got married very young. She stays at home and she teaches women how to submit to their husbands, how to have a healthy marriage, and really just romanticizes the idea of being a homemaker and choosing a different path than the one that feminism has set out for young women.
Hey, Esme, I got a video for you. Well, we'll get to it later.
Thank you so much for joining me, Savannah. We've been mutuals on Instagram for a while, so I'm so happy to have you actually be able to join me and talk about some of these things. So you were getting so much pushback for getting married young. I've seen you get all this pushback from the left, from feminists, from other women. How old were you when you got married again?
18.
I was 13 years old. Yeah.
You're 18. Wow. And how did that happen? Like, what was the sequence of events that?
Nope. If I would have got married at 18, nope. Nope. Absolutely not. Nope.
That led to that.
I mean, I'm not saying that nobody should get married at 18. You know, I'm not saying that, but like for me, let me tell you, I would not have been a great husband.
I mean, my husband and I met him when I was 17, and then, you know, we talked about moving in together, but we're both Christian, and you know, we were like, well, if we move in together, there's going to be like this conviction that we're going to have the whole time. And honestly, we were getting pressure to move in together from our parents. And it just didn't feel right. Because they were obviously like, you don't need to rush getting married. Like, what's the reason in rushing commitment? But literally 2 weeks after I met my husband at the time, I was like, I know I'm going to marry this man. I just, when you know, and you kind of have a gut feeling. And
let's just say I've known a number of times. We'll say that. A number of times. Okay. I was a bit of a hapless romantic. What does hapless mean? Am I using that right? I was a bit of a hopeless romantic. Especially of a person unfortunate. Can hapless romantic make sense? I guess.
And so we just made the decision like, okay, we're just going to get married. And it was still a surprise. Like he proposed to me. And then
what happens if you have a huge dong and she has a tiny vagina and it just hurts? That happens. That's a thing. And then you get married and you're like, well, vaginal sex is not really in the cards. That's a thing. That is 1000% a thing. There's like ancient Hindu texts where they assigned people like a different animal for dick size. I think like elephant meant you had the hugest dong. So if you have like an elephant dong and like a lemur vagina, it's just not going to work.
We're driving back from the proposal. He's like, hey, we're getting married Saturday at the church. your parents are already invited. Like I got everything set up. So he set up the whole thing. That's exactly what I wanted. I honestly never really wanted a big wedding.
Have you seen Shaq's wife? Oh God. But just being like a small woman doesn't necessarily mean you have a lemur vagina. I mean, she seems pretty tall, actually. Is she wearing enormous heels? Yeah, she is. She definitely is. She's got to be like... Oh, she's 5'7". She's no, maybe slightly above average for a woman. What is the average height of a woman for women? 5'5", maybe 5'4". What? I guess 5'7" is a little bit tall for girls.
Wedding. I'm very like, I don't like spending a ton of money on unnecessary things, i.e. college weddings, like all of these big American scams. And so it was just very casual. We saved a ton of money doing it. We moved in together a week later in a new city, like got our first apartment. So it was super fun. It was like a super chaotic week. Yeah. It was really fun. And I don't regret it.
Savannah Stone. Now we're going down a rabbit hole. Unfiltered Q&A. Plastic surgery, getting married at 18.
Hello, my name is Savannah Stone. Welcome to my YouTube channel. We're going to be doing a very chill, laid back Q&A today. I'm going to be answering some questions that I somewhat avoid when I do Instagram story Q&As. And the reason that I avoid them is because on Instagram story, you just don't really know who's seeing it, right? But if you're going to sit down here with me for 30 minutes and watch this Q&A, then I know that you either really hate me or you're really invested in me. And so I want you to see the answers. So anyways, I posted a couple Instagram stories. I asked you guys your juicy questions.
What is that logic?
So we will get into it. Okay, so I got some variation of this question multiple times, and it's how do you handle judgment for being married young? Okay, so if you don't know...
Hold on, where's the part about plastic surgery? That's all I want to know.
Myself, but again, criticism is a good thing. What plastic surgery do you have, if any? And then a lot of people were like, do you have lip filler? Do you have Botox? Do you have a nose job? I don't have anything done to my face. The Botox thing, I guess 20-year-olds do actually get Botox, but my skin is just, I'm just young. So no, I don't have Botox. Everyone in my family has pretty full lips. They all have button noses. It's just genes. The only plastic surgery that I have had done is a breast augmentation, and that's it. Some people ask questions.
Just a breast augmentation, just a teeny tiny breast augmentation.
At all.
Okay, yeah, I think we're done down that rabbit hole. We'll get back to some sense.
Countries to have a policy of understanding and helping others, not just within our borders, but outside of it. And now you, as a great, smart Christian...
What a jarring transition to go from listening to those two fucking midwits and then just go right back to listening to Kyla, you know, getting into detail about scripture and like law.
A nationalist comes along and says, actually, it's more Christian to only care about Americans, because I think somewhere in the Bible, God says God loved everyone, but actually he only liked Americans, right? I think it's probably Galatians 3:28. Let's see. There is both Greek and non-Greek, nor Jew, nor branded or free, whole or female, for one of you, all in one Christ.
Have you heard of the concept of ordered love?
Yeah, of course.
So do you agree with that?
It depends. What does this even mean? In what context?
In the context, like I mentioned before, caring for your family before other people.
So again, it depends on what we mean. Like if I say neglect your family, well, why are you laughing? Of course, right? If you say, should you neglect your family? No. Obviously not. But the issue is that you're.
What if you're neglecting your family to help other people? Is that justified in your?
Of course not.
Okay, so
I just said neglect is bad. But the issue is you're acting, the America First paradigm acts like this is a zero-sum game, right? The idea that you have to like put America first and foremost, while, as you said, is maybe...
Chat ignoring chat for vital info. Sarah is Canadian. I don't think Hutch knows. I don't think that matters, right?
Maybe a good idea if all you care about is being greedy and concerned with your own self. But again, you're a Christian. Christians should not be fundamentally...
Wait. That... Huh? To clear up the confusion, I haven't worked for Rebel News since last year. I work for slightly-offensive.com with Elijah Schaefer. I'm a dual citizen. I was born American and have American lineage. Americans born abroad are not immigrants. I didn't tell Rebel News to take my bio down. I'm not trying to hide anything. Formerly Ontario-based Canadian American, Sarah Stock. Wait, she's a Nazi? What's going on? She's a Canadian America First Nazi? Okay.
Focused on only helping others because it benefits them, which is what you said. You said, I'll help them, but only if it benefits me. There's not a single fucking thing that's Christian about that, right? Christianity is fundamentally about generosity to others. It's about looking at people and seeing them with love. It's about looking past the borders and saying, you are loved because God made you, not because you're American, not because you're white.
Jesus had 2 fucking rules, man. He had 2 fucking rules. He made that shit simple. He was like, 10 commandments, we don't need any of that. I got 2 rules for you. I'm gonna simplify this shit. Love your God and love your neighbor. That's it. That's all I ask of you. Well, that's not true, but those are the 2 golden rules. Love your God, love your neighbor. If you're acting in love and service of God and or your neighbor, you can't go wrong. Can't go wrong. So I don't know how you could proclaim to be a follower of Christ's teachings and then laugh at the very idea of USAID or something like that. Like, it makes no fucking sense.
Christian, and what you're doing, you can have these principles, but you don't for a second get to pretend that it's Christian.
Oh no. Is she ever in positions where she has to defend her vapid idiocy? Is she ever in that kind of a setting? Does she do these kinds of debates normally? Because she is so out of her depth in this kind of setting here.
And what you're doing, you can have these principles, but you don't for a second get to pretend that it's Christian.
I think it's just like odd that you come here from Canada to America and say, I want your country to support foreign policy that is detrimental, or economic policy or immigration policy.
How many times does Kyla have to say she's not talking about any kind of policy that would be detrimental to the United States? Does she have to say it 4 times? I think she said it 3 times. Does she have to say it 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, 15 times? She keeps repeating the point, and it's like her brain just short circuits, and it's all just rage bait. Is that all this is? It's just rage bait.
Didn't say it's
hurts
detrimental.
America, but
never
helps
happened.
other countries, and I find that very strange.
She's again.
And I think
you're
this
just
is
not
like
talking
why
to me. Why
I think we need to like take a look at our immigration system and like be like,
Sarah,
what are we doing
Sarah,
here?
if your best dunk is, aren't you Canadian? But I'm still beating you on understanding of American foreign policy. That's not it.
But you quite literally go to another country and tell them you need to support policies.
Can you imagine that if in Canada I might have the same?
She's talking about the principles that Christ tried to adhere to and proselytize. She's talking about guiding principles that would apply everywhere in the world.
Predilection. Do you think that I think Canada should be only Canada first?
You should, yeah. I think you should.
Sorry, I'll ask you my question again.
I support
Do you think that my
Canadians
predisposition
being
is that if I
Canada
went
first.
to Canada, I'd just be Canada
I support
first?
French being French first. I support Ethiopians being Ethiopian
you've
first.
made it clear you're selfish. We get it.
No,
you
that's-
only help others if it benefits you. You've made that very clear from the beginning. USAID, will I stop malaria? Will I stop children in Africa from dying? Well, does it benefit us? I'm a Christian, by the way. God's love is awesome.
Do you think that people in Japan are like, oh, I want policies that hurt Japan and help, like,
what's hurting
Nigeria
America about USAID? What's hurting America about USAID?
Sending our billions of our tax dollars to people.
How is
are
that
not
hurting
us?
Because
Because that money could go to our people and
Couldn't
strengthen
you say the
our
same thing
country.
about Ukrainian, all the arms that we're sending them? Why are we sending them arms? Shouldn't we keep it for ourselves?
Well, because
we might need it.
Ooh, that's a good point, Kyla. That's a really good point. General of $5, I get it. I get it when she says, when you come from Canada, it's projection of her feelings. She can't even run for president, but she could run for Canada PM.
Well, because there's foreign policy, like you mentioned, like how supporting Ukraine could in turn benefit America because they're an ally.
Yeah, so you're talking one side of your mouth and you're
No, that's
insisting
not
that the
talking-
policy that I'm
no,
suggesting is
supporting American
detrimental, but then you
can
again
be
outline
She has no concept of soft power, like none whatsoever in her mind.
how all of the policies I've listed here
Supporting
are
American
both
allies can
practical,
be beneficial
and on the
for
other
America.
side of your mouth, you're trying to be like, well, don't you think that it would be bad to neglect
USAID is based because, like for twofold reasons. Like it's based because it's really fucking good and awesome to, save millions of lives with a very minimal investment. Just on its face, that's good. As somebody who claims to go to church, you would think she would understand that. But number two, it's based because it benefits us. We get better trade deals and we forge important partnerships and we expand our military and economic hegemony. It's completely self-serving and altruistic at the same time.
your family? Yeah, it's bad to neglect your family. They're like doing like the bottom barrel, like, don't you think rape is bad? Yeah, we've gotten there. The issue is that fractions exist and things like trillions of dollars exist, which is why we had US aid. It's why we had this foreign policy. Not only did we have this foreign policy.
Was it supposed to be Andrew Wilson debating Kyla?
Because it's good for America. But as a Christian, I would like to support it if we can afford it.
Who was he supposed to debate? Who was it being proposed that he would debate?
Because it's the right thing to do.
You want to move to immigration?
No, we're not here to debate immigration. We're here to debate America First as Christian.
That's part of the America First policy, right? So I support an America
She's got to go to brown people when in trouble. She's like, but brown people are kind of weird, right?
You can calm down. It's okay. I support an America First policy that benefits Americans over people from foreign nations. And I think that should be reflected in our immigration policy too. So for instance, with the working class, we've lost so much of our industrial jobs because they've been sent, it's a free trade issue, but we've been sending so much of our jobs overseas. And in the same way, because we've been letting so many people flooding the borders, it's a lot harder for the working class to find jobs.
So in 2017, there was a tariff imposed on the steel manufacturing industry to try to bring steel manufacturing back to America. Do you know what it did for American jobs in steel manufacturing?
We lost tens of thousands of manufacturing jobs.
Didn't think so. What it did is it shrunk jobs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The reason that
we went into a manufacturing recession because of Trump's tariff policies. In part because of Trump's tariff policies.
The reason that we export labor is because Americans are paid for their time, not for their labor, whereas overseas it's typically the end product of their labor. Now, you and I could have a long, lengthy conversation about how that's probably bad, but that would be a liberal talking point, not a conservative talking point. And while I might have issues with the way that we economically handle other countries, insofar as we often take advantage of their poverty, which I think is not good, the reason that we export labor like this is because it's fundamentally cheaper.
It's cheaper for corporations, yes, but it ends up hurting.
And American consumers. Well, she's saying, hold on.
American workers because their wages have been steadily
And you should
declining.
get on my side and say that we should have actual like effective policy to hold corporations responsible for the way that they decimate American lives.
Yeah, expand labor protections, labor rights. Yeah.
I agree with that. Why are you assuming
So
what
you're
my
for like
position
taxing
is?
corporations more?
Or like super pro-union kind of policies.
Sure. I'm also for
Hey.
closed borders. I'm also for like reshoring our manufacturing. I'm also for policies that support American workers rather than immigrants.
Do you know why H-1Bs are so important?
American workers versus immigrants. As if the two labels are mutually exclusive. Excuse me? An immigrant can't be American? That's like the definition of an American.
Let's focus on one industry, cybersecurity. Do you know anything about the cybersecurity industry?
Not that much. No.
Okay. Okay, let's just take this more broadly. Do you know why H-1Bs are so valued in America and why your president doesn't want to get rid of them?
Because they contribute a shitload to our economy. Like enormous, vast sums of wealth
Because Indians do
and productivity.
work for cheaper, and they also usually are able to work longer hours because their jobs are tied to their visas, so they're much easier to be abused by their employers, and that's why. Yes.
So that's one
so
reason.
It's actually good for corporations, but it's not good for all the people we told to get STEM degrees who now went to Silicon Valley and can't get a job because they're too expensive.
That's not what's happening in Silicon
Yes,
Valley, and why
that's
there's
what- that
that's
is
not why the
100% what's
unemployment issue. The reason that there's an unemployment issue is because there's a massive staff.
Full-time H-1B employment generally means working 35 to 40 hours a week. Where did the claim come from where she said they work longer hours?
Bubble that happened during COVID in particularly soft industries like cyber.
Did she say Silicon Valley? No, she did not.
Cybersecurity, one of the reasons why H-1Bs are so essential for that industry is because the level of training, you basically need to have like your last certification needs to be updated within like the last year or two. So a lot of American trained people, they just don't have it. We actually cannot fill jobs at high levels. So the reason we have H-1Bs is we pull the people over so that they can fill these jobs. And now I agree with some of the abuses that happen to these individuals. But again, this is a liberal talking point. I don't like that. I would like to see things like better hours managed and better equal pay, which actually Biden suggested doing a lot of these things, but you guys shut down the immigration bill because you wanted to win an election. You don't actually want to solve your problems. Oh,
Fucking Kyla. Jesus Christ. Is there a full version of that debate? Maybe I just haven't seen enough of Kyla's other debates. I've just never seen her like pop the fuck off. Quite like that. Like I've seen her on like the Whatever podcast. I've seen her debate Andrew Wilson a couple of times. I've never seen her that ruthless. I mean, that was like nasty. Kyla has never been this brutal. I've seen her practice more restraint and patience with like Myron than this Sarah individual. Just dripping with contempt. Okay, guys, a little bit of a weird stream. We're not going to end it on Twitch. We're going to play some video games. We're starting to do this. This is starting to become a thing where we start the streams with with political content, React content, and then we shut the stream down on YouTube and go Twitch exclusive, and we play some games. I'm just fucking super into Arc Raiders. I'm just very organically just into the game. And there's enough like funny moments where I feel good about streaming that content. It's one thing if I'm playing like a big open world like single player RPG or something like that. But this game is just funny. It's just a really funny game. So we're going to do that, guys. We're going to end the YouTube stream. I'm going to link actually in the YouTube chat. If you guys want to come over to Twitch and hang out a little bit longer, we'll probably play for 2 or 3 hours maybe. Let me do that. It is just twitch.tv/Hutch, guys. That's not a hyperlink. If I do that, does it show up as a hyperlink? Yeah, there you go. You can click on that. If you don't want to hang out for video game stuff, that's all good. We're going to take tomorrow off for Christmas. If I don't see you guys in the Twitch chat for the Arc Raiders stream, I hope you guys have a wonderful Thanksgiving. I also want to say, I'll expand on it a little bit more as we get closer to the new year. But on a personal note, I just want to say that this year has been such a rejuvenating experience for me as a creator. I have been doing this now for, 17 years. 17 years of my life I've been doing content. And in that field, it is really easy to burn out, get bored, experience imposter syndrome, feel a lack of inspiration. And I've experienced all of those things throughout my career. But this last year of streaming for me, you guys, and then especially like all love to old school Twitch viewers. I do love you guys. You guys are the best. Especially with like fostering a new community on YouTube. That has just been such a fun, it's been so rejuvenating. It's been just a blast, you know? 99% of the time I wake up, I'm excited to stream and keep this community going and building. And so all that to say, that's all thanks to you guys. Without you guys, I would be a crazy person talking to a computer screen. I really do enjoy our interactions quite a bit. I learn a lot. You guys teach me stuff. For example, the parable of the mustard seed is not the parable of talents. Who would have thought? But I learned that shit because of you guys. The trip with the tier 1 membership, Kyla's abortion debate was peak. Better opposition to. General Grievous with $5. I get it when she says you can come from Canada. I think I already got that one. Swanee Bird with $5. It matters that Sarah's Canadian in this case because she was attacking Kyla for being Canadian and caring about American politics. Yeah. I picked up on that. But yeah, from the bottom of my heart, guys, just to get a little serious with you guys from time to time, from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys so much for the enormous contribution to my life that none of you quite understand. The impact that you guys have had on me has been just so profound, personally and professionally. And I am just so fucking grateful for you guys. So fucking grateful for you guys, for this community. I think in a lot of ways, not to be hyperbolic, but I think in a lot of ways, you guys have fucking saved my life in ways that you will never understand. I don't think I'm hyperbolizing by saying that. I think you guys have pulled me out of some dark places and got me on a better path. And I'm just so happy that you guys are a part of my life. So thank you guys for that. And I really sincerely hope you guys have a wonderful, relaxing Christmas with your families. I hope it is not too rife. Is that the word? I hope that it is nice and calm, you know, even with political disagreements. I hope it's nice and chill, you know. Hope everybody gets along. Aiden with 5 gifted subs. Aiden, thank you so much for the gifted subs on Twitch, buddy. So enjoy your holidays. I'm sure you've all earned it. Kick your feet up. Watch a comfort movie. Lord of the Rings, maybe. I don't know. Take your pick. But that's gonna end it for the YouTube stream, guys. It's just twitch.tv/Hutch if you guys want to come over to Twitch and watch me play Arc Raiders for a couple hours. Whilst I build up a new character. All right, I'll see you guys in YouTube on Friday when we come back for the regular stream. All right, I'm ending it. I'm doing it. I'm gonna do it right now. Gone. That's it, bro. Okay.